Okay, we're recording. Welcome back to Bad Movies Rule, the worst movie podcast ever recorded. And today you're getting on the bus with the rest of the undesirables and you're being deported out to LA. Welcome to the human race. Doesn't take much to get you on one of those buses.
No.
No.
Anything.
No, not according to that president.
No.
Could you imagine if that happened?
Let's just look cross-eyed and you're on the bus. Get out of here.
Yeah. Like the mighty fist of God.
Yeah, so today we're talking about John Carpenter's Escape from L.A., which was 1996, I think, right? Usually
Yes.
I have it on here.
Correct, 1996.
Okay. All right, good, I'm guessed it correctly.
August
then.
of 96.
And people are still escaping LA to this day.
Yeah. No!
Literally, people are escaping in droves right now.
That's right.
We know a couple that dipped out of L.A.
Yeah. We do? Yeah.
into Texas. Benny was there.
Oh, yeah,
My
Benny
friend
was
Benny
there.
was like,
Shout out
goodbye.
to Benny.
Shout out
Dipped
to
out,
Benny.
went to Texas?
How has Benny not been? You know, he's came back here, but I'm just wondering, how has he not been on the show yet? I wonder.
You have his
But
phone number.
I do. I'll call him.
Maybe. Do you still have him on MySpace?
I don't have him. Well, you know what? I wondered that the other day. Is my MySpace account still just floating out in the interweb somewhere?
I think
Oh,
mine
my.
is. I never closed it. I don't think.
That's what I'm saying. Somewhere out there.
Someone's getting all our data from MySpace.
I wonder who my top 8 friends were. I'd have to go back and look. Like a snapshot in time.
It's a Van Damme movie.
So
It's actually a James Hauser film.
joining us today, we've got, we made a joke at the last episode is we weren't able to have 2 Joes in the room. That's why Joe couldn't make it, because we already had a Joe. But we've got 2 Ryans in the room for the first time.
Oh, boy.
We got Ryan and Ryan. People aren't going to know who I'm talking about. So we got Mr. Ryan Farrell. How are you, sir?
I'm great.
Awesome. Welcome back. What was the last one you were on?
Knockoff.
Knockoff. All right. Come back since Knockoff.
Just call him Sterile Farrell.
Sterile Farrell. And then joining us also is Mr. Ryan Mueller back again. How are you, sir?
Call me Snake.
Ryan, what was the last one you were on? Was it
Iron Eagle
Iron
2.
Eagle 2? That's right.
2.
How was that
That
movie?
steaming
Oh, my
turd
gosh.
pile.
It was bad. And you've probably already heard his voice and know that Mr. B.O.B. Bob Hauser is in the house.
Hello.
What's up, Bob? People excited when you're here.
Whoa. Wow. No, wait. Are there boos?
No, there's no booze. There's just but you don't deserve that.
We need a boo button. Want the
We need
boos.
we need a boob button.
This is, and we'll get into the vitals here in a second, and then we'll hear, basically, for those of you who are new to the podcast, we basically hit the vitals, tell you all the particulars about the movie, the budget, the scores, the stars, all of that stuff. Then we get everyone's general impression and their history with the movie, and then we just dive and we literally walk all the way through the plot. And before we do that, though, this is, I think, our 3rd or 4th Bob Hauser special. I think our 4th, because Bob, when he was younger, Bob is 8 years younger than I am. He had these movies that were on heavy rotation. We call Bob Hauser specials, right? So there was Waterworld. We did that one.
It was Batman Forever.
Batman Forever. We haven't done yet.
We'll never do that one.
No, we did 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
Yep,
that was one of your ones on rotation.
Yep.
And then there was, what was it? Wild Wild West was
Wild
the other
Wild
one
West,
that we
yes.
did. And this one is also a Bob
Yes.
Hauser special, Escape from L.A.
Yes.
What's interesting is, are there ones besides Batman Forever, are there any other ones that we have to get that are on heavy rotation back in the
Well,
day?
actually, Street Fighter was one of them.
Okay, so there you go. Street Fighter we did.
Our first episode was, was a
That's right.
special. Trying to think.
The ones that I wore out when I was a kid was Superman 2 and Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. Those were the 2 that it was like the VHS wouldn't work anymore because I watched them too much.
Last Crusade for me.
Yeah.
Last
okay.
Crusade for me. But Crusade's a great movie, so we can't really.
No, we're not going to talk about that.
I was just going to say,
that.
James watched great movies as a child. And
James came out of the womb.
Back to the Future was the other one.
James came out of the womb.
I'm watching
great
Back to the
movies.
Future, Indiana Jones, and Superman 2, and he's out here with 3,000 Miles to Graceland and Escape from L.A.
Oh, I come in peace. Dolph Lundgren's I Come in Peace.
this explains so much now.
All right. Well, let's get into the vitals, but actually, hold on. We'll be back. Thank you guys for listening. As always, we appreciate you. We wouldn't be here without you guys. You guys have been so supportive of the show. And over these last 3 months, just hearing from more and more people, and it just gets us excited to see what the future holds. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you could, drop us a rating on whatever app you're using, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict. We're on pretty much every platform you can find podcasts. Those 5-star ratings will help us get pushed out to more people. And also, as you know, a couple episodes ago, we launched our Patreon. So now you can follow us and become a partner on Patreon, patreon.com/badmoviesrule. And there's all kinds of bonus content. And if you want to hear Bob act out Jack Nicholson's scene from Batman as Macho Man Randy Savage, you can do that if you're a Patreon member. It's out there for you. So that's right. We appreciate the support.
When is that going to be?
That's already out there.
Oh,
that's already out there right now.
That was a day. That should have been a day one.
That's what I'm saying. So, all right, let's get to the vitals. This is our second in short order in the last few episodes, John Carpenter film, because we just did Big Trouble in Little China for our 50th. And now we've got another John Carpenter movie today. This was his last collaboration with Kurt Russell, though.
Yes,
Bob, off the top of your head, do you know all of the collabs between Kurt Russell and...
Elvis.
Yep.
The Thing.
Yep.
Escape from New York.
Yeah.
L.A.
Yeah, it's 4.
Wow. There's one missing.
Yeah. The one I said, Big Trouble in Little China.
Yes, Big Trouble in Little China. Sorry, thank you. My apologies. Wow.
No.
2 seconds ago.
Hit that wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Oh, that's all right, buddy.
Failed you people.
I literally fed that one to you, but that's all right.
It's okay.
The movie was also written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill and
Kurt Russell.
yeah, his only writing credit.
He was very persistent. He wanted to make this movie because it was his favorite. To this day, I don't know. This is back in 96, 95. He said this was his favorite character he loved to play.
Wow.
That's why he's such a a-hole about people remaking it. 'Cause
Yes.
He doesn't think it deserves, no one deserves to remake it.
No, don't touch it. It's like there's some parts I think you can continue to play over, like the James Bonds of the obviously Spider-Man. We've shown that Batman can be played.
Right.
I don't know. Snake Plissken is Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Russell's Bliskin.
Yeah.
Yep.
You don't recast the man with no name.
I mean, I guess you could do anything. They could do that, but whoever that is, it's kind of like the guy that had to come in and play Solo in the Young Solo movie.
Yeah.
It's like
kind of DOA.
he did a great job.
He did do a
but
great job.
You're just hosed no matter how good of a job you do.
Yeah.
There's
Did
no
you
way.
know?
It's Han Solo is
It's Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you know, though, that they were going to try to reboot the Pliskin franchise with Timothy Olyphant and Len Wiseman was going to direct it?
It was like the early 2010s.
If anybody could do a good job, it'd be Timothy. But he'd still be DOA, as you said. Like, it's just not Kurt Russell.
Right. He would do all right. I mean,
No, but I love Timothy Olyphant.
I like my dirty special effects. I like the crappy props. I like a lot of the pros and cons of these two movies,
Yeah.
Escape from New York and LA, that brought to the table.
Well,
I don't
I'm sure I'm
want
gonna
to.
hear
I don't
all
want to
about
polish. I don't want a polished turd.
How about just a turd?
It's not a turd.
I can't wait.
It's not a turd. If you telling me you sat through this movie and couldn't find anything to love?
we're gonna get to it.
I
Believe
like
me.
things that are awesome.
I do.
Yeah.
I generally, as a rule, I only like things that are awesome.
Your
So
face is awesome.
the movie starred Kurt Russell, Steve Buscemi, and George Corofus, and many others, which we'll get to. Stacy Keach, I think, is in this movie.
Stacey Keach,
Michelle Forbes,
Pam
Stacey
Grier,
Keach, Valerie
Pam Grier.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of people
Lots
that
of
show
people.
up. Peter Fonda.
This was
Fonda.
yeah, thank you. This was the first thing that literally had me banging my head against the desk, though. So the budget for this movie was $50 million. And after watching it, I have to ask, where was their $50 million spent?
$49 million went to Kurt Russell.
Actually, he got 10, which is a lot. Okay, that's
still
fifth.
fits the budget.
20% of the budget went to Kurt Russell.
But
So you're probably saying
To play
20.
his favorite character.
You're probably saying 20 million.
He should have done it
actually
for free
the
at
actual
this
movie.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
The movie looked like $20 got spent on it. I don't know where $40 million went to.
Hey, first bit of trivia about it.
Yes.
The visual effects house that did the movie.
Yes.
This was actually their first motion picture.
Okay, so what was the name of the house? Do you remember?
Buena Vista Visual Effects.
Okay, thank you. Buena Vista Visual Effects. I read this little nugget that the reason the CGI, and let's just talk about it now,
Yeah.
was so terrible is they literally didn't know how to do it.
Yes.
How do you hire a special effects firm that doesn't know how to do special effects?
No, yeah, I don't.
My
understand
Sega
that.
Genesis had better visual effects than this movie did.
There's 16 bits.
My 16 bits, my Sonic the Hedgehog had better. They could have just went to Sega at that time.
Sega.
It's
Just give us the Sonic the Hedgehog graphics and let's roll with that. Because
Honestly, and we're going to hit this dead horse a few times as we go through. I've got
That's
many
definitely
notes.
one of the cons of the film is the
Yes.
special effects.
It is funny though, like you said, like this is a special effects house that is
Right.
running a business
Right.
that is John Carpenter goes to after being a filmmaker for 20 some years,
Right.
And says, "Hey, let's do the visual effects for this movie." They're like, "Oh yeah, we got you." And then
Right.
it's like,
But they
"Oh
didn't
wait,
know?
we don't know how to do motion pictures."
So you're telling me it was a.
No, we'll figure it out, John.
So you're telling me.
Yeah, we'll
Go ahead.
So you're telling me it was a Rick Foster
It
production.
was a Rick T. Foster production.
All right.
I'm
so
joking.
$50 million. A good chunk of that went literally to a effects house that didn't know how to do effects, which
good work if you can get it, I guess.
is now, now in retrospect, hilarious, but I mean, sad at the time.
Yeah.
The box office, it only made $25 million. Cut that in half for the movie theaters. The studio brought in $12.5 million on a $50 million budget.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not
good
going to get
numbers.
it done. No.
No.
Too bad China's box office wasn't around back then.
Yeah, it wasn't as big of a global thing than it is now, right?
Yeah.
But who knows? It's
4K
Roger
can pick it up.
Ebert.
what's that?
The 4K can pick it up.
Yeah, let's get. Oh gosh, if this movie was in 4K with those special effects, it would look even worse. I feel like you got to leave it in standard
There's
def.
a 4K DVD.
Okay, you played it in 4K.
I'm gonna tell you this. I bought the 4K UHD of Escape from LA.
Would you like punching yourself in the face?
It actually improves the film.
How is that possible?
I swear.
I feel like these effects would only work in standard def.
100%. I swear that the visual effects did not look as terrible as they did on the old DVD.
They had to have Lucased it then. They had to have gone back
Probably.
and Lucased
They
it.
had to do something.
Carpenter probably went back and re-rendered some of it.
I can't imagine that Paramount didn't maybe spend just a little,
They
you know, a
probably
little
spent
bit
at
of
least
money
a-
to make it look not as terrible. But honestly, as we go through the movie and talk about the amazingness of it, we'll
I can't wait to hear in crystal clear 4K how that all looked, especially. So well, I'm not even getting into
we're
it
not
yet.
going to get into it just yet.
So it's currently sitting at a 5.7 on IMDb. So it's 0.1 worse than Air America, which is always our metric.
Baseline.
Which was a 5.9 when we did it, is now a 5.8.
Oh, man.
That's the power of the show.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
power of bad
BMR
movies.
Army is out there downvoting Air America. And Clint's 4 fans have kept it where it is. So 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. That shocked me.
Yeah. Did you know Roger Ebert gave it a 3.5 star review back in 1996?
Yeah.
That can't be true because I respect him. And
it's
I
right here.
Absolutely
It's
true.
right here. I'll show it to you.
3.5 stars.
Roger Ebert gave the film 3.5 stars and wrote that the movie was an attempt to satirize the genre while also exploiting it. Has so much manic energy, such a weird cockeyed vision that it may work on some moviegoers as satire and others as the real thing.
Did he just get his wisdom teeth pulled and he was still on his anesthesia or
He had to have.
something?
It's like a divided house in here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I just,
The table is
that
set.
doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's a good movie.
It's so right now, as I said, 52% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's better
from
than Hope Floats.
Okay, well, if that's your metric, then you're always going to win.
Damn right. I hate that.
And it has a 39% audience score. So the audience hates it more than the critics do.
They're foul. They're
All right, Bob, we're going to get it because you're like chomping at the bit. I want to hear it. Overall impressions. Tell me why this is a good movie to you.
It's awesome. It's got good characters, better than the first movie. The characters are awesome. You don't think the characters are awesome? You're laughing right now.
When I get to my turn, I will tell you.
Hold on. Name me any memorable characters from Escape from New York.
I only
stood
saw
out.
Escape from New York like twice, and it's been a long time. So,
Okay.
no, it has good characters.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Continue.
Good characters. The plot's fun. It's a good fun movie. And it's a good time.
It's a good time.
It's a good time.
So after you watch Escape from LA, you just jump up off the couch. You feel energized, like you just
Yeah,
had
have a good time. I've worked out watching this movie.
You work out.
I-
You work out watching Escape from LA.
Yes, I do. I've worked out watching this movie. I don't know if it's on. I watch
Like it's
it.
leg day. I can't do my leg presses without
it's a
watching
pull-up.
Snake Plissken.
No. Escape from LA is a pull-up movie.
Pull up and push ups. Okay, perfect. Ryan, I'm assuming saw upon release?
Sorry. And the atmosphere is really good.
Okay.
The atmosphere.
Did you see it upon release?
No.
Okay, so
In
this
1996?
Yeah, when was the...
No.
When did you see it then?
Probably after my father told me about John Carpenter. Actually, it was after I saw Ghosts of Mars.
Okay.
So Ghosts of Mars was the first John Carpenter film I ever saw.
Interesting. Worked your way backwards.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of came out at that particular time,
Sure.
and then my dad was a huge John Carpenter fan, and we watched Ghosts of Mars, and he thought it was terrible, and I was like, Dad, how'd you not like that movie? You're a John Carpenter fan. He's like, Look, son, Halloween, Escape from New York,
Yeah.
and The Fog, and I was like,
Not The Thing, though. All right.
he did, yeah, no. But anyway, I mean,
Yeah.
so okay, so that turned me on to that, and
So it's not a new movie for you. You didn't just watch it this week.
oh no, absolutely
Okay.
not. I actually remember the preview from 1996. It's a particularly vivid childhood memory of
Okay.
watching Power Rangers and the teaser trailer for Escape from LA being on, and me kind of being like, "Wow, that looks so cool." But you know, I was
I was too busy
yeah.
dreaming about the Pink Ranger to pay attention to the commercials. So-
Kimberly.
All right, so what's your overall impression of the film then?
So let me ask you a question.
Oh,
What other film?
I love when people answer questions with questions, by the
What
way.
other film has an ice cold, one-line cracking anti-hero, city-shattering earthquakes, a ticking doomsday clock with a genetically engineered virus, idiosyncratically named characters, and a post-apocalyptic wasteland full of gunplay, motorcycle chases, tsunami surfing, and flying winged thingamajiggies that defy the laws of physics.
I can think of movies that have those things separately that are better, but nothing that has them all together.
And hologram shenanigans.
That's true. Total Recall did that better.
a lot of hologram shenanigans.
So you're a fan.
This is a good movie.
All right. Wow.
This is a fun movie.
All right. Ryan, is this the first time you ever saw it?
If it isn't, I'm blocking out the first time I saw it because I think it is. I may have seen it years ago when it came out in 96. It might have been something I watched as a late teenager, but I don't know. Characters are, I mean, to me, I get the character of Snake Plissken, right? One-liners, doesn't say much. You got to have everybody else carrying up the dialogue, and you don't have that.
No.
You have everybody doing the same thing. I mean, you got Jimmy Baker as the president here. I mean, he probably would have done a better job, but we'll get to that later.
Yes.
It was, I wouldn't say it's a good movie. Would I watch it again? Maybe.
Yeah.
But, overall impressions are, I had to go and look and see, especially with some of the effects.
Sure.
Was this like a comic book and that's what they were going for? Is this some sort of, like Ebert said, was like a kind of a satire of a genre, but I didn't get that feel out of it either. I didn't think that's what they were, if that's what they were going for, they missed the mark on it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, here's my biggest problem with the film. And this, understand everything I'm about to say comes from one of the biggest Kurt Russell fans in the world. He's always been my favorite actor. I love almost everything the guy's been in, okay? So I love this guy. There is no reason for this movie to exist.
That is a fair point.
There's no reason for it to exist.
I'll admit that is a fair point because it is literally Escape from New York made 15 years later.
It's a remake.
It's a satire of the original.
But the satire of what? It just repeats the beats. It's like saying that Gus Van Sant's Psycho is just a satire of the original Psycho when they really just did it shot for shot from the original.
Well, Escape from LA is not a shot-for-shot remake.
I understand it's not a shot for shot remake, but it's a beat for beat remake, and it doesn't really have anything to say any different than the first one already said.
So do you know what John Carpenter said?
Yeah, I've actually got the quote right here.
Yes, the fact that John Carpenter says that Escape from LA is a better movie than Escape from New York. He does.
Yeah. So he says, this is his quote, Escape from LA is better than the first movie, 10 times better. It's got more to it. It's more mature. It's got a lot more to it. I think some people didn't like it because they felt it was a remake, not a sequel. I suppose it's the old question of whether you like Rio Bravo or El Dorado better. They're essentially the same movie. They both have their strengths and weaknesses. So he essentially admits that it's the same exact movie.
I think now here's what I got out of it after watching it just a couple days ago versus watching it 10 years ago versus watching it, 6 years before that. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where I think I picked up on the satire of itself a little more this time around. And the first time, we'll be honest, the first time I ever saw this movie, I thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
And that was when I was kind of getting into the filmmaking thing, and I was very critical of a lot of things that I watched and was like, oh, yeah, Escape from New York, great movie. Escape from L.A., wow, what a steaming pile of donkey droppings. And then, Bob changed my mind.
Yeah.
And he forced me to watch it in 2012 one night.
He has a habit of doing that.
It's just funny. I picked up on more of it than when him and I were watching it, and then...
I think it's a reach. I don't even think the filmmakers didn't even call it a satire of the original. I think that's revisionist.
There's a lot of little things that you have to catch in this one where the president is obnoxiously crazy and uses religion and a lot of other things.
Right. They're talking about fundamentalism. Taking over the country and how terrible that would be if people couldn't smoke and do drugs and, all this other stuff. And like if an overly conservative, televangelist was able to take over the country and all people must be absolutely perfectly moral or you get deported to LA.
Where the first one, it was just like New York was a prison where you just send people to prison. It wasn't anything like where it was
I just felt like it was boring. It was off-puttingly nihilistic. Is that how you say it?
Nihilistic.
It was off-puttingly nihilistic in its worldview, and I just there's just nothing I liked about it.
I can see the nihilism. I agree with your nihilism about it. Yeah.
There are moments I like in the film. I say there's nothing I like about the tone of the movie, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, we'll get to that.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. But there's plenty of fun to be had at the expense of Escape from LA as we go through it. And as we go through it, and Bob tries to do to us what he did to Ryan in 2012 and convince us that this is a good movie. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying my opinion.
You're here as a defender of Escape from LA.
Damn
so
right
I'm interested to see if by the end we've been feraled and, and brought over to the dark side to be lovers. I'm impressionable. So is Ryan to a certain extent.
Certainly
so
agree.
We'll see.
State your case.
I think the first
state your case.
Okay,
yes.
Let's start with the beginning.
Yes, let's do it. Let's dive in.
The score for Escape from LA is better than the score for Escape from New York.
Yeah, sure. If this is going to turn into which of those two is better, we can settle that now.
Oh, yes.
It's better than Escape from New York.
What?
The movie is better than Escape from New York.
Escape from LA
Yes.
is better than Escape from New York.
Yes.
Are you not an Escape from New York?
He wasn't an Escape from New York fan.
No.
Oh, but you love Kurt Russell.
Love Kurt Russell.
But
never been. I've rewatched so many Kurt Russell movies. I've never rewatched these unless I've been forced to for a podcast.
So you love Kurt Russell, but your least favorite Kurt Russell character is Snake Plissken.
Snake Plissken.
So did you not do my experience? Did you not watch both of them next to each other?
No, I did a recap video. I just didn't have time to watch both of them. My schedule this week was insane. So
I did. I watched it.
Yeah.
I thought Escape from New York's better.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. I love Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Just for me,
But just to, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, the point I was trying to get across, because I'm tripping over my words here about, tripping over my words again. The tone of the film, I think it's more fun than Escape from New York. Escape from New York was great. Stylistically and atmospherically, it's great.
Yes.
But the Escape from LA is more fun.
It's definitely less serious.
Cuervo Jones and the President versus the Duke of New York. I think I'd rather watch the President and Cuervo Jones more than I would watch Isaac Hayes.
Well, just to give everybody a little bit of a background, because in case there's anyone listening that's never seen the movie, let's kind of set the stage of what's happening here. So there's essentially been two things that have happened. A religious zealot, as the movie calls him, has taken over the presidency, so to speak, of the United States, been elected president.
When he's like a prophet.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jimmy Baker, as you said, that kind of guy.
He looked like Wayne Newton's goofy cousin.
He did. But he predicted there was going to be an earthquake.
And you know who that was? The president.
Cliff Robinson.
Yeah. Peter Parker.
Peter Parker's dad.
Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben. Yeah,
the OG Uncle Ben.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so he predicted this earthquake was going to separate Los Angeles from the rest of the country because of its debauchery.
Yeah, he called it the modern Sodom and Gomorrah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they never got into this, but I'm assuming he caused that earthquake in some way, shape, or form.
Seemed like it.
Right?
And what happened to Las Vegas? That was my question.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so because, I don't know if it's because of his accurate prediction, he was able to secure a lifetime term as president.
Yeah.
And
They amended the Constitution.
They amended the Constitution,
After the earthquake, they amend the Constitution so
Right.
he can be the forever president.
right. And essentially now what LA has become is a deportation zone for undesirables. They built a wall along the new West Coast so that people couldn't escape LA and come back into the United States because it is now a moral zone, meaning any kind of immorality, which we find out as we go through the movie, could be very minor things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are shipped off to LA, which is lawlessness, right? Essentially, it's a free zone.
It's an autonomous zone.
It's an autonomous zone, but it's run by gangs.
Yep.
And it's, you're liable to get shot by going outside. It's just not a nice place.
Well, as autonomous zones
live.
tend to.
I would have liked to. I would have.
That's kind of how they go, yeah.
You're right. Talk to Seattle.
Wow, I can't believe
Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'll probably cut it out. So because I try to avoid politics whenever possible.
One of the cons for me about the film was I wish we knew more about what happened with New York, because now you got L.A.
Right.
What happened with New York?
They pay some lip service to it, like, oh, I heard about New York. Oh, you
Yeah,
saw
right.
New York.
Oh, yeah. That was cool. Like that lip service was cool, but it was like, well, what happened in New York? Because now you got this deportation zone where we're sending everybody that's unfit to live in the new moral America.
Yeah, and like, do you have to
Where's
go there?
New York at?
Well, can't I go to Canada or something? Like, why
still the prison?
do I have to go to LA?
It's still a prison. Is New York still a prison at this
still a
time
prison.
frame?
It's probably got to be.
Well, it's 16 years after his rescue in
Right.
New York.
Right.
Right.
The movie is.
Yeah.
What I don't
Yeah,
understand
earthquake
is
The earthquake happens only 1 year after the rescue in New
Right.
York,
Yes.
technically.
what I don't understand is why you have to go to LA. Like, if it sounds like they're just deporting you out of the country. You're not sentenced to a prison sentence there.
In that case,
They're just removing you. Like, why can't I go to Canada or somewhere else?
they're French. They don't
Mexico.
want us.
Yeah.
Right?
The French don't want us.
The French don't want us. Got it. They were talking about like runaways, atheists. I mean, I don't remember what some of the other ones were, but it was just
Atheists,
not.
runaways. Oh, God.
What was the gal that he met in Beverly Hills? What was her reason for being deported? I couldn't
She was a Muslim in South
She was,
Dakota.
she was being a Muslim. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They
and
made
then
it
they made it a
illegal.
crime.
Yep.
Right. And so
Yeah.
essentially this is the scenario here, okay? What ends up happening is the president's daughter is radicalized online by Cuervo Jones, okay, who is a
Peruvian
Peruvian terrorist, member of the Shining Path.
Member
Yeah.
of the Shining Path.
And
Basically a nod to Che Guevara.
exactly. And so he convinces her to steal this doomsday device, which we'll get into as we get into the plot. And she absconds to LA to be with her internet boyfriend,
Cuervo.
right? Who's a revolutionary.
This doesn't happen in real life.
Just saying.
Wow, this is pretty accurate.
And now Snake Plissken is brought in to save the day. Essentially, that's
Reluctantly.
the synopsis.
Reluctantly.
Well, that's his whole thing. He's always reluctantly.
Reluctantly
Yes.
brought in to save the president's daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is part of what drives me nuts about his character is he just always seems so put off, like by everything that happens.
Yeah, he's
And everything.
irritated. 'Cause
He's always irritated.
Yes, because what he went through in the first movie, he had a bomb injected into his neck in the first movie.
I mean, he was irritated in the first movie most.
His partner in the
he
first
was.
movie,
That's
he
his default
double
setting.
crossed him, and then he got arrested, and then he had to put a bomb in his neck, shipped to New York to get the president out.
Right. But it lacks any moment of humanity given to him. And there's been lots of characters in action movies that are
Okay,
don't talk a lot. That are I'll give it. Just give me a sec.
Sorry.
That don't talk a lot, or they are always grumpy, or they're the stoic loner and all that. But they find moments to humanize them, and it's just you just never get a peek behind the curtain with Snake ever.
But that's why it's what makes him the ultimate anti-hero, because he doesn't care about anything.
I know, but I want to care about him. That's the thing.
So I just want to throw it to you though, and real quick, so we can jump into this.
Yeah.
But who is your go-to anti-hero,
Oh, geez, I'd have to think about that.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head.
or just a couple that you would prefer over Pliskin?
I don't know.
Because
No?
Pliskin's not a good person. He's just that.
No, he's not.
he's
but
not.
he's the
He's-
only straight and blunt, honest individual that In a world that everyone's gone crazy, he's probably the most straightened razor edge sword.
I suppose.
Because he is because he is like the absolute, and that's what it is. You only find out through clips of dialogue, like, oh, 2 Purple Hearts, blah blah blah, Special Forces, ex-Special Forces, yeah. Well, the whole thing in Cleveland,
Right.
and they just keep talking about Cleveland. Like,
What happened in Cleveland?
we don't know what happened in Cleveland, but they always
They
talk
should have
about it.
done one 7 years in about Cleveland.
Right.
So we figure out what happened in
Cleveland.
Escape from Cleveland is much more impressive than anything else.
Escape from Toledo.
People have been trying to escape for Cleveland for their whole lives and have never been able to.
Well, the Drew Carey show is.
I was just gonna say, come on, Cleveland rocks. Come on, guys.
I think, well, this is, so we had Howard the Duck was set in Cleveland, and even space aliens knew it was a crappy place to land, right? They're like, oh man, Cleveland.
Cleveland.
I wanted to see what happened there, but yeah. So, but essentially Snake is brought in and we hear about this, it's been 16 years since he escaped New York. He's a gunfighter and he's been in Thailand. That's where they arrested him
What
in
did they say?
Thailand.
Thai Vegas or something.
Which was-
New Vegas territory.
New Vegas something.
New Vegas. Oh crap.
Yeah.
New Vegas, Thailand, U.S. territory. Thank
Yeah,
you.
U.S. territory.
That's what it was. Yes,
Yeah.
New Vegas, Thailand, U.S. territory.
So-
So that's what happened to Vegas.
It had to have been.
Yeah, they just kicked it out of the country, and now it's in Thailand.
Okay. They just packed up the strip and sent it to
Yep.
Thailand.
Yep. Fremont Street is over in Bangkok now.
Okay. and the reason they bring in Pliskin, and even though he's guilty of so many crimes that he should be deported, they want to use his skills to retrieve the president's daughter, or rather the doomsday device,
Right.
True.
and kill the president's daughter.
You guys think you're gonna inject that shit into me? I'm gonna do whatever you want, just like New York.
Right.
Yep.
And so they again, because this is a remake, they inject him with another thing.
Well, they didn't inject it. There was more of a
Scratch on his hand.
scratched him. Yeah.
Scratch.
Yeah.
And they give him what they call the Plutoxin 7 virus.
Yep.
And he has, 10 hours to live. And it's a ticking clock. Again, he's got to get in and out before the virus shuts down his nervous system.
Let's talk about that killer soundtrack when he's getting dressed.
Yeah, talk about the suit up scene.
Suit up scene.
Is that what you like to watch when you work out? Is
Absolutely.
the suit up scene?
The
The
music
suit up
kicks on.
scene is awesome.
Suit up scene is great.
He's got the
snake and he's just.
It's a better suit up scene than the first movie.
Oh god.
Sure.
No, I will disagree. The classic gun table scene in the first movie is awesome.
yeah, it is awesome. I think
This one was it was pretty good, but yeah, the suit up scene when he's getting dressed is way better.
the music in the suit up scene
Yes.
in LA is better than New York.
100%.
My favorite revelation about this movie is that his name is Bob.
Yes. Yes.
SB Bob Bliska, Special Forces.
SD Bob Pliskin.
That's got to be why you love this movie. When
know,
you found out that Snake Plissken's name was Bob.
Bob.
Not just someone, but Snake frickin' Plissken's name is Bob.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
It's incredible.
You know how many movies that you get named James?
I don't know.
Jim?
Name one. The only person with my name is in Total Recall when they call Schwarzenegger
How about-
Hauser.
how about Jimmy
and I'm like,
Braddock?
yes.
How about Jimmy Braddock from Cinderella Man? His
Well,
name is Jimmy.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
do I
he's a-
go by Jimmy?
No,
He's a real person.
he's a real person.
It's a real actual
James
person.
J. Braddock. Anywho.
It's fine. I'll take Schwarzenegger being Hauser for 20 minutes of a movie, and that's all I ever needed. So.
Right.
And it's Arnold.
And it's Arnold, exactly.
Arnold.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And David Ortiz being Oberhauser Inspector.
That's right.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
And so Bob Pliskin says, "Call me Snake,"
Yes, call me Snake.
right? And did you guys see that as he's walking them through this is the ship out area where they send people to LA, that you could, if you didn't want to go to LA,
Yeah.
you could just
take a left turn here at the chair.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to LA?
If you don't want to go to
right
LA,
over here.
Did you listen to the announcements?
You need
when
to
they were telling
repent.
About, you need to repent.
you need to repent and you could be electric chair.
notify the priest on. Oh my god.
yes.
Notify the what's the term? I'm sorry guys. I'm trying to remember that term.
It wasn't.
know.
It was
This
just
doesn't
like
matter.
Just like
notify
the-
your deportation.
Yeah.
officer.
Yeah,
It
notify
wasn't
your
anything.
deportation. It was just so funny
Notify
and
your officer.
nonchalant about it.
Right. And then there's people doing it.
Yeah.
They just walk past people
Because
getting
they probably
fried.
wouldn't survive in LA.
Well, you definitely won't survive if you just suicide yourself.
Well, do you mean if this is the rate the world is at that point, what would you do?
Hey,
I don't know.
You know, different strokes for different folks.
Take your
I suppose.
chances, I guess.
I mean, I would be like, oh, okay. Let's just
I
go
can
to
go
LA.
to LA or I can take a left turn here at the chair. What am I
I'm gonna go in LA and open up a tiki hut.
So A sunglass hut right next to Map of the Stars, Eddie.
Yeah, exactly.
You could open another map shop up, I guess, and
Competing one?
Competing with Map of the
Oh, that'd be great.
Map of the Stars ready.
So what's interesting is as essentially we have the president and then Stacy Keach and I don't remember who the
Michelle
girl-
Forbes.
Michelle Forbes are the three officers that are basically telling him
Running the
you're
mission.
you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're going to do this whether you like it or not because you're infected with this virus. So sucks to suck, but you're going into LA, right?
Yes.
And Snake takes every chance he can to try and kill them.
Yeah.
And so the first time they're sitting in a room, he just dives at them and they're holograms.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Which sets up this running thing that they have. They're like in one room over. My question is, how'd they walk through the door if they're holograms?
They walk through the door in the other room.
But how did this door open?
All right,
Are you trying to undo the Avengers Endgame
I don't
time
have to
travel
try
scheme?
hard.
checkmate. You know what? Checkmate. Next question.
he just showed up in the room, I guess.
I'm just gonna go with matching rooms. I'm just gonna go with matching mirrors and everything. Okay, smoke and mirrors.
I just
everybody.
think it's funny. The other very 90s.
You were going after this movie over the
Oh, yeah.
littlest
Dude,
thing.
I'm telling you, I'm driving a B-12 bomber over this movie, and I'm going to drop a nuke on it.
I will deflect this.
Were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
I said they just showed up in the room. I
Right.
mean, there was no Pliskin walks into the room.
Yeah, but there is a shot of them walking into the room.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that was my thing. And the other 90s thing about it that really I loved, kind of like a Tango and Cash thing, is the size of the gun they give him to complete this mission.
Yep.
This thing looks like it would weigh about 96 pounds.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And he's carrying it with one hand everywhere he goes. Right?
Because he's Snake Plissken.
And he tries to shoot Stacy Keach when he's trying to get in the sub. They're shooting him out in a submarine to go out to LA.
This is the moment that I realized that this movie was completely self-aware and a satire.
This moment when he tries to shoot him.
This moment is, I was like, wait a minute, I get it now. This
And the
is a
muzzle rise,
satire.
or the muzzle flare on this gun
Yeah.
was hilarious.
Yeah. It was-
Right?
Yeah.
The recoil in this movie would have peed Rick off.
Right.
No problem.
But this gigantic gun, there is no recoil or anything, right?
No,
And
that's
he
what I
waves
love
it
about
around
it. Just
like
no
it
one
weighs
has
4 pounds,
Yeah.
but it's huge. And so every time he tries to kill them, they've thought of whatever
Yes.
it is. So in this case, they loaded his first
This is what I
magazine
mean.
with
Where
blanks.
he says, "You gonna be at the drop?" And he says, "No." He's like, "Good," and he blasts both of them. And then they're just standing there, and he's looking, and he's like, "Huh? We thought you'd try that. That's why we loaded your first magazine with blanks."
That's clever.
It's clever. I wish they had done it like.
and then they. I'm just like it. This movie knows exactly what it is.
I wish they had done it 3 or 4 more times. If they were going to really make it a satire, lean into it.
Yeah,
After he got in the
yeah.
sub, he tries to get out and he just goes out into another sub. Oh, we thought you'd try that. So we had a second sub built above that sub. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe they were saving that for the next movie.
And they would just, every time, it would just get more and more ridiculous. That, oh, we know you do that. So this is actually a hologram of LA and now you're being sent to the real one. Like, just keep doubling down on the joke, because you're supposed to do comedies in threes, and they only did that twice, and there should have been a third one.
Yeah.
Then I would have appreciated
We
it.
knew you would have done that. So
Okay, yeah. So sorry, I just had to find my place.
So now he's
They launched him to
back to
LA
the movie.
Back to the movie.
He's
Ju-
In a PlayStation 2 submarine.
in a PlayStation 2 submarine up against a Sega Genesis shark. And then he crashes on
Bro.
Peter Fonda's beach.
Well, hold on. Before he even crashes, they're
The
go ahead.
shark from Echo the Dolphin in here.
Dude, Echo
That's
the
what I'm saying.
Dolphin.
That's a good pull.
Remember that.
That's a good pull.
Yeah, that's a good.
But the San Fernando Valley, the San Fernando Mall, I should say, is like one of the collapsed things in the water.
Yeah, yeah.
And it straight up looked like clip art that was put over the water. That's how bad the mat was for these things. It was like something you did like in Paint on Microsoft.
Paint 94.
That's right, Paint 94.
It was Paint 93. They couldn't afford 95.
Windows 98, right? Hadn't even come out yet at this point.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
exactly.
But yeah, the sub for the CGI sub was so terrible.
Another con of the film. The CGI sub scene.
So he crashes through the Universal Studios tower,
He does?
and that was actually a a nod that John Carpenter made because he had been in so many debates with Universal that was his.
That was his little jab at them?
That was his little jab at, like, yeah, crashing Snake Plissken through the tower where all the executives at Universal work, just to give them the little...
I bet that subsequence, even though it looked so bad, crashing through the Universal thing and everything, I bet that cost them $14 million. Because it was the longest CG sequence and then when he crashes it and loses the sub immediately. It was like John was like, we can't afford the CGI in the sub anymore, so
let's get rid.
We have to get rid of it right away.
It was just like the first movie when he lost the airplane, when he lost the glide. Off the World Trade Center.
Classic.
That's where it could have come in. They Stacy Keach's character could have came on and said, yeah, we thought you might try and go back, so we got rid of the sub for you.
We rigged the pier to blow up.
They should have just kept doing that, man. They should have just kept it. Well, as you said earlier, though, he crashes into Peter Fonda's beach.
Yeah, Peter Fonda was not okay with that.
Not expecting to see Peter Fonda in this movie.
No. But I think they go back. I think they're actually good friends. They go way back.
So it was more of just a, hey, want to do this with a friend of mine kind of a thing.
I'm pretty sure they're friends.
And it's cool to make him like the stoner surfer guy because
he was perfect.
I kind of enjoyed his character.
Yeah, his character was
just
good.
like, hey,
this was
dude.
like all the characters in Escape from New York were good, but none of them were as good as the characters in LA. Okay. I'm gonna drive that home. As much as everything around it was whatever you guys want to call it.
You enjoyed Peter Fonda. You've seen Easy Rider and all that stuff, right? Yeah. I mean, kind of seemed very natural for him to fall into that type of character.
I guess.
How about the soundtrack?
Well, the soundtrack was okay. I had no problems with the score.
How about the cool overshot when he walks to LA?
Oh, you mean when he walks into a painting?
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was like cut to him walking into a painting.
Yep. Why? How many movies have we?
They couldn't find a road for him to walk down.
Right. How many movies have we done and watched?
Let's do a bad Picasso painting of LA.
Hold on. What about Ghostbusters '84, where they're outside the tower and you see the clips of like the clip art?
You mean that movie where the special effects were so good it holds up 40 years later?
I'm talking about.
Are you going to hold that up?
I'm talking about the special effects paint art. The paint.
Yes, it holds up 40 years later.
So how does it hold up? You can tell it's paint.
Paint 84 was better than Paint 94.
This is like one you did with that program on the Mac where you had the turtle that would draw things. You know what I'm talking about? That's when they got this picture. The guy showed up. The guy from Buena Vista knocks on Carpenter's door. And they're like, we spent everything on the submarine, sir. Here's the mat.
okay.
Here's the mat for the walk up to L.A.
Here's
And the guy walked out with a black eye, but they had to use the thing.
Movies out there.
Here's some Dutch boy and Rust-Oleum spray
There's
paint.
so many movies out there that walked into Bob Ross paintings.
Because this is the one in front of us right now. And when we did American Ninja, there was one shot where the ocean was in the background, was clearly a painting. The waves weren't even moving. Okay. We totally ripped on that one too. We do not want to be in the same company as American Ninja.
Yeah.
Anyway, Snake walks into LA and finds out that there was one team member from the first rescue team that was sent in that he was supposed to contact. But he's now being used as target practice for some
dartboard now.
gang. He's a dartboard.
He's a dartboard
Yep.
now.
He's a human dartboard.
And the guy's like a little annoyed that he wouldn't throw some knives at him. He's like, hey man, $100 says you can't, or whatever.
Yeah.
$100 says you can't put 3 blades in them. You want to throw?
Yeah, and he's like,
Warlock, I'm
Snake,
talking to you.
because he's a jerk to everyone. I'm not saying it's bad that he was a jerk to this guy, but that's just his default setting is like, says nothing and walks away.
Yeah.
Well, and this guy, dartboard guy here, seems to be the only one that doesn't know who Snake Plissken is.
Everyone he runs into knows who he is.
I was just going to say, that's the thing.
Oh, did he?
He
What
did.
he
He
say?
goes, can you point me to Cuervo Jones?
Oh,
And the
that's
guy
right.
got
That's right.
all testosterone bother and goes, would I look like a tour guy?
But he didn't acknowledge the request at all.
No,
to throw.
he cocked his gun and then he looked behind him and goes, where can I find Cuervo Jones? And he goes, would I look like a tour guy? And he
No.
goes,
Well, the good news is he
Just
walked
walk
in the next
away.
room and found a movie trope, which is the information hooker that just knows everything the main character needs to know to get him to the next place that he's got to be, right?
The information hooker.
Yeah. Well,
or whoever, the information.
There's no TV, so you got to have an information hooker.
Yep.
Exhibition.
No radio
Or
in L.A.
In Wayne's World, it was the information security guard, right, with Chris Farley that just told him all the information he needed.
But that was Chris Farley, though.
That in and of itself was making fun of that.
Yes, exactly.
particular
That's why I bring
Yes,
it up.
yes.
This was that trope in action in Escape from LA.
Yeah, because it's always in in anything where you just run into some random person who just happens to know everything that you needed to know.
All of the things.
I mean, that goes back to film noir, though.
Oh, sure.
That's been a trope for
and they just keep doing it.
Yeah,
and I love
exactly.
it. I mean, heck, I've probably done it in one of my movies, and I don't care. I just like pointing it out when I see it.
So do I.
But anyway, so she points him to where Cuervo Jones is supposed to be, but it's really a parade that's happening.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so before he leaves, he turns around and shoots dartboard guy.
Yeah, dartboard guy. Well, dartboard guy was trying to throw a knife at his back.
I'm not criticizing him for shooting. I just said before he goes, he shoots dartboard guy.
Yeah. Dartboard guy's about to knife him. And
What do you think? I'm team dartboard guy? Dartboard guy sucked.
Dartboard guy sucked. He did.
Okay, he's sitting out here. He's probably got alopecia. And
wow.
If Will Smith had been in this movie, he wouldn't have even got the chance to shoot him. He already would have been smacked.
Will Smith would be in this room right now, you'd be smacked, sir.
It's okay if Will Smith does it.
It's okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Dartboard guy sucked.
Yes,
didn't
he
he get
did.
a knife off towards Pliskin?
No.
Or he had it cocked and Snake was like, yeah, done. Didn't even Didn't even
Done.
look. He just like
Exactly.
done.
That's what's so great about him.
So it's great.
That's what's so great about him.
Useless. Done.
Done.
I got no time for dartboard.
What do people want out of a character like Bliskin? I'm really curious. Is like you hear a lot of this argument.
Listen,
this guy's one dimensional. He's really not one dimensional. He's stereotypical. What's the one dimensional thing that you?
But here, because you just don't see any kind of human element to him. That's again my thing. So. There's all kinds of guys. We've watched these same movies. I love the dudes that like shut up, turn around, shoot, ask questions later. I mean, all kinds of characters like that we both love. But there's moments of humanity in those movies, where you at least get to see him like, I don't know, care about something or someone, or I mean, he was just such a nihilist. Like he didn't care about anything or anyone. You never got to see him. I don't know.
You never got to see him actually be relatable as a human.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Right.
That's the thing. So
And Snake Plissken is someone who even Carpenter admits is so disgusted with the human race
right.
that, we'll get to.
Right. So I guess it's that's the reason I don't connect with him. The action-y stuff, I mean, who doesn't like a badass character that, shoots first, asks questions later, and does all the cool stuff it's just, that's the reason that he's my least favorite Kurt Russell character.
Interesting.
That's all.
Very interesting.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's his favorite.
He doesn't.
And your
He
least
doesn't.
favorite.
Well, he doesn't have the range that he has in his. Because I like Kurt Russell too. I mean, Jack Burton, Kurt Russell.
Oh, come on, let's go. I wish Clint was in here right now to hear you say how awesome Jack Burton is. He gave him the trash can full of dirt award.
Wow.
When he did Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, wow.
He said it was the worst character. I almost leapt over the table.
Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, man.
Yep.
Jack Burton's probably my favorite.
If you would have been here, you guys would have had a fist fight or something.
I mean, I don't take kindly to anybody that trash talks my favorite Kurt
Are we
Russell
streaming
movies
this?
all the time.
Are we streaming this over in the shop right now, Clint? Get over here.
Streaming it
We got to
live.
talk about Jack
This is
Burton.
my
right now.
over to the RC
This is my
shop.
number 2 favorite Kurt Russell
I know.
movie
I'm
of all
not trying
time.
to don't take any of this personal.
I'm not taking it personal. I'm having fun talking about this. That's why, I think this is fun.
Well, all right, so we got to get moving. So Cuervo Jones is in this parade and he's rolling down and he's having like his Che Guevara parade, like you're saying,
Yeah,
right?
his big rally moment of rallying his troops and giving the speech.
His car's all right. He's got the doll heads on it
Yeah.
with
I
the
vote for
disco
him.
ball on the bat.
Yep.
What's with the doll heads?
I have no idea.
And the outfits everybody's wearing, and it's like
the chandelier that the Duke of New York had was.
Yeah.
I like the Duke.
Hey,
You like
That-
the chandelier?
I love the chandeliers on the
look,
Cadillac.
He did have a
Just-
cool beatbox soundtrack though.
Hold
when he
on.
drove on set.
just accept it.
but I have to.
He doesn't want to accept
don't
it. He
want
wants to
to.
destroy the
They're
film.
just
I'm not out to
doll
destroy
heads.
He's
it.
out to destroy
It's
this movie.
Here it is. It's the Buckaroo thing. It's the people's.
I was just gonna say the
It's the
Buckaroo
people's
thing.
costumes.
Why is there a
that they're
watermelon on
wearing.
that?
He's
like-
picking it apart.
It's like John. It's like John Carpenter, except he should have known better. The director of Buckaroo. Remember, we made this joke, right? It's
Yes.
Like, he didn't know how to say no. People just kept walking up to him and stuff. Should we have this in here? And yes.
Yes.
But here, Carpenter, it's like he just said, throw it all in.
Right.
It's the Buckaroo Banzai thing.
Why is there a watermelon on
Why
that?
is there a watermelon on this?
It's wow.
I don't know.
Anywho,
So Snake is like, all right, there he is. Get him.
yeah. So he just goes for him, and
goes
now
for
we
him.
have our first action set piece of him jumping on motorcycles.
Yeah, and he rode the hell out of
Yeah.
that motorcycle.
Yeah. And of
looks
course,
great.
everything you hit explodes.
Right.
Regardless of if it's flammable.
Except for him, because he gets shot with an Uzi while he's on a motorcycle and he just kind of shakes it off.
Yeah.
Right?
Those guys were the worst shots ever. I mean,
Well, how about the guy stop shooting? So to paint a picture for you guys at home, Snake is following behind this guy that's shooting an Uzi back behind him. It's hitting Snake's front end. He's like, whatever. He shakes it off, pulls off to the side, ends up coming in front of the guy, jumping onto the back of a pickup truck, is now in front of the guy with the Uzi, who was watching him do all of this, but is inexplicably not
He's riding a
firing.
horse.
He's on a horse. Thank
He's on
you.
a horse. He's
He's on a horse.
yeah.
But he's inexplicably not firing. Snake lands in front of him. The guy on the horse is just watching the Snake, then turns around and just shotguns the guy. The guy is holding an Uzi the entire time and never fires it.
It's great. He knows he's about to die, so he just runs out of bullets.
He knows he's about to die, so he runs out of bullets.
Yep. He just empties
He's just injected his...
he just ejected his clip out of respect.
It's like the guy in Dark Knight Rises who was fighting Catwoman but just fell without actually fighting Catwoman.
That's true.
I mean, that's another complete...
And all
Who's
the
to
cops
say?
that came out of the sewer without facial hair.
Don't even get me started.
What I did appreciate about Cuervo is that he wasn't one of these bad guys that's like, I'm just going to sit here. And he actually was like, I'm going to go get him. And crawled out of his own car with a bolo. Those are bolos?
I can't.
I don't know.
The little like balls on the ends of the...
Right.
The Thundercats used to use them. Let's go, Thundercats.
Oh, yeah.
And Snake is, taken off of his bike by Cuervo, and Cuervo sails on. But 4 dudes kind of stop with Snake to take care of him, to finish him off.
Great.
Finish him off.
I did like this.
I
scene.
love this scene.
I did like this scene.
This is the scene from 1996 that I remember from the TV trailer.
Yes.
As an 8-year-old boy watching this real quick of like, nobody shoots until that can hits the ground. Or nobody draws till that can hits the ground.
Right. Bangkok rules.
Bangkok rules.
So it's essentially a standoff. It's 1-on-4 gunfight. And they've already mentioned in the film that he's a gunfighter, right? This is his thing. And so here's these 4 guys. They kind of back up a little bit to give themselves some space, and it's 1-on-4. Like you're in the street at high noon, except you're greatly outnumbered.
Yes.
And so Pliskin says, "How about we play a little Bangkok rules?"
But it appeals
First
to
of all, Bangkok rules suck. Don't ever agree to play Bangkok rules.
in anything ever that you ever do in life. If anyone brings up Bangkok rules, do not do it.
If you take away one thing from this movie, say no to Bangkok rules.
That's right.
And a guy picking up a tin can in the middle of the street.
Say no to anything.
Honestly, what would he have thrown if that tin can hadn't have been there? His motorcycle?
Oh, yeah.
He was just throwing his motorcycle in the air.
You could throw anything in the air during Bangkok rules.
So basically, he says no one shoots till this hits the ground. He throws the can up in the air. Now, what do you do naturally when someone throws something up in the air? And
You
you're
look
playing a game?
up.
You look at it.
You look up. And all four of these unassuming henchmen who Snake just completely played for egotistical fools, which they are, when he
great.
brings up, how about some Bangkok rules? So what do cocky bad guy henchmen do? Like, yeah, Bangkok rules. We got you. We got your 411. So, yeah, throws the can up in the air and draws and blasts them all dead.
Draw. Before the can hits the ground.
And then the can hit, they're dead by the time the can hits the ground.
That's
right.
Cool guitar.
Yeah, that part was awesome. I'm not going to say that part wasn't awesome.
Yeah.
Of course it was. But don't ever agree to Bangkok rules.
So, no Bangkok rules ever.
No.
No.
But then one of my favorite actors of all time shows up, Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
As Map to the Stars,
Map
Eddie.
to the Stars, Eddie.
Now we get our intro to Map to the Stars, Eddie.
I think I would have liked this movie a lot more if he had been in more of it. Because every
Yeah.
time he's around, I'm like, yes, this is awesome.
He played the part perfectly. I
yeah,
thought.
he's great.
Really?
And it's really weird to me how
He's a-
young he looks now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
and,
Right.
you know, I was like, oh man, I didn't realize he was old and crusty, because you look back at old or young Steve and it's shocking to me
Right.
Yeah.
after watching like Boardwalk Empire and, some of these
Yeah.
other newer stuff that he'd been in.
Yeah.
But so essentially he's like, kind of plays himself off like, oh, I'm just a, local guy, a talent agent. I sell maps to the stars. And oh, by the way,
To make a living here in LA.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give you a ride in my Cadillac that you should have recognized. It's the same car, right?
Is it?
No,
With
it's
the
a
doll
different-
heads?
It's a
They're
different
both
car.
red
It's a different
They're
Cadillac.
both the
Red
same kind of
Cadillacs,
car.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're red
It's a
Cadillacs,
different car.
but-
though.
It's a different car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the.
There's no disco ball
not
or
the-
doll heads on this
Okay.
one.
I just didn't know if they just popped all those off or whatever. They just all suction cup to the hood, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just turn the CGI off on it. All right, we got a different car.
So he offers to give him a ride to Jose Cuervo's house, but he actually ends up working with
Cuervo
Jones. What is that, Jose Cuervo?
I always thought too. I'm like Jose Cuervo.
He looks like freaking Jose Cuervo.
He does.
All right, so Jose Cuervo's house is around the corner or whatever.
See, it could have been a satire if they just would have went Jose Cuervo.
Should just call them Captain Morgan. Right.
So basically, John
Jim
Carpenter was drinking Jose Cuervo, reading a biopic about Che Guevara,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
was like, Jose Cuervo, Che Guevara.
That's right.
Cuervo Jones.
It's like, all right,
And that
escape
was-
from Cleveland. And the
escape-
studio's like, no, we can't do that. He's like, all right, make it L.A. But we're going to talk about Cleveland.
But we're going to keep bringing Cleveland,
Cleveland
down.
rocks.
That's right. And so he shoots him with the fun gun, which basically is just like two darts that come out of the Steve
yeah,
Buscemi
the dashboard.
the dashboard.
Or the
double
box.
glove
Glove
box.
box.
Yeah.
So Steve Buscemi, Map to the Stars Eddie double crosses Snake and shoots him with these darts that basically get him high as a kite.
You skipped over a scene.
I skipped over a scene.
The Surgeon General of Beverly Hills.
No, that's after this.
That's
How he ends up in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Oh, it's before.
It's not.
Yeah, he ends up in Beverly Hills by walking into Beverly Hills. He doesn't get ejected and thrown in Beverly Hills.
Oh, is that where? And then that's where he gets picked up.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
Snake
Yep.
gets
He
picked
meets
up,
Map to the Stars Eddie.
and
He keeps walking. He didn't
Keeps
want to
walking. He
take the
turns
ride.
him down.
Oh, yeah.
You're right. Okay, my bad, Bob. I had it on here. You're
No, it's
sorry.
okay.
So he turns him down and ends up walking into Beverly Hills. And there's a sign. If you miss it, it says surgical zone ahead.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make any sense
This is probably the most nightmarish
out of context.
like side quest mission.
Yeah. Well, there's
was-
like all these like.
This reminded me a lot of what Fallout and all those video games that we played. Like,
Yeah.
you just go off, like you veer off, and you're just like,
It's a total side quest mission.
like
right?
what is this?
He goes into Beverly Hills and there's like these adult Jawas, right, from Star Wars. They're like, right? I mean, they're just you can't see their faces. They're in the hooded clothes.
Yeah, right.
They're running around. They don't talk.
They're the sand people.
And they're literally looking for parts for they're literally doing what Jawas do.
Right.
But for a surgeon.
But they're looking for humans.
Looking for different
human
parts.
parts
Instead
they're
of
surgical
spaceships.
they're
Yeah.
called surgical failures.
Yeah.
And so Valeria Galina is in the bushes hiding as well.
Yes.
You might know. I always think of her from Big Top Pee Wee.
Hot shots.
Hot Shots also.
Hot
right?
shots.
I think she was with Hanging with the Cooper too.
There you go.
Hanging
Yeah.
with Mr. Cooper.
And she's like, shut up, you're going to get us caught by these Jawas. And he's like, whatever, I'm Snake Plissken, I don't give a crap. Literally what he does. He's like, and just walks right out in the street. And there's one of these Jawas staring him right in the face. And it's a straight up raptor attack from Jurassic Park.
They are full-size people.
They are. I said they're adult human Jawas. Okay. But they do the raptor attack thing where the one of them stares at him, right? And he's like, and then the last thing is like, oh crap, he realizes he's being set up. Harpoon net from the side.
Yep.
Just, clever girl.
Yep. The clever girl. Yep.
And they're both captured and brought to this plastic surgeon, which I think it's hilarious the way
It
they
is
set up. That,
Played by the all great Bruce Campbell.
that's right. The man himself,
The Surgeon General of Beverly Hills.
which I think is great that they made Beverly Hills the center of like this maniacal plastic surgeon. Like it's the perfect place for it.
That's the satire of it. That's what's so funny.
Yes, but it's not satirizing Escape from New York. It's just making fun of Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Yes.
It's making,
That's what's like making fun of Hollywood.
Yes, for
Yes.
sure.
right. Yeah, I got that part.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was clever, and I was kind of chuckling at that. I'm like, yeah.
But it was
this is-
cringy too.
It was crazy.
No,
Well,
it absolutely was.
He looked fantastic. I mean, his plastic surgery. I mean, you could tell he did plastic surgery. The makeup for Bruce Campbell, but he didn't look horrific like the other people.
No, he had more like a potato head, and the other people were.
He had the curved nose,
Right.
Like the you can see where the surgery was.
yeah.
His jaw.
Like I said, his head looked like a potato,
Yeah.
but it was like better done than everybody else.
But
Why they were out searching for parts.
Ash-
because their muscles turned to jello. I
Right.
feel like.
Yeah.
Ash from the Evil Dead is the Surgeon General of Beverly Hills, and basically he's coming around going just yelling at all the Jawas, right, saying, "I can't work with any of this. You've brought me garbage."
Yeah.
Right.
They can't see anymore. They've had so much plastic surgery.
That's what I'm saying.
They rolled by with like a tray of eyeballs.
I was just gonna say, it's like she's got like the hors d'oeuvre tray of eyeballs.
Pick an eye.
Yeah,
Pick
which
an
one you
eyeball.
want?
Super gross. And there's a guy with a major slack jaw
Yeah.
too, but you can see his actual mouth inside of the other mouth. Like, great job on the makeup there.
I didn't catch that, but I'll have to go back and watch
Yeah,
it.
go back and little thing you can catch while you're there. But essentially, the Surgeon General notices Snake Plissken's beautiful blue eye.
Yes.
It's a shame there's only one, and is going to cut it out.
Yes.
Yep.
But
Not before mouth dart. Now mouth dart you in the head, buddy.
I guess we forgot to mention that there was a James Bond scene before he left where they did these are your gadgets for your mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like an Escape from New York. So if you see an Escape from New York, same thing happens in Escape from LA. The gadget table.
And so one of the gadgets he got was a blow dart,
Yep.
Yeah, which pretty much paralyzes your enemy.
which he shot directly into Bruce Campbell's forehead.
Yes. Yes.
And he escapes.
But
And
you would figure with all the Botox and everything else, how much of an effect really would it have? Wouldn't you build up like immunity to it at that point?
And he
good point.
perfectly cuts the rope.
Oh yeah, just was he banking on that too? Was Snake so
he
good?
measured it up. He's like, okay,
If I dart him
blow
here.
dart now.
If I blow dart him exactly.
Eyeball cutter right through my rope. I'm free.
Yes.
Right. If he'd been off by a second, it would go right through his chest. Is what would have happened. The thing with this little jaunt, this little side quest, is it ultimately served no purpose in the plot of the movie or anything.
It did not, but it was entertaining.
But it was
It
entertaining.
was entertaining.
Sure.
Well, maybe it's not a plot-driven film. Maybe it's more of just
It's really not.
the character of Snake Plissken and his Dante-esque.
Would you say this
Here's
is
the
a character
quest.
film or is this a
I guess it's. I think it's just, I don't know what it is, to be honest, guys. It's boring. And this is why I thought, there was just the whole movie is just him walking and going here, and then he goes there, and then he goes there. There's like more walking than Lord of the Rings. Okay.
I was just going to mention Lord of the Rings.
Like that's like, or the first Suicide Squad movie where half the movie is them just walking around a city.
That was terrible.
You know what I mean?
This
It's
is
Suicide
this is like the Air America of walking movies. And they're flying endlessly, going nowhere. Snake Plissken's walking, going nowhere. Yeah.
Right.
I'll say the pacing of it definitely affects it, where like these scenes that we're talking about very well could have been entertaining,
Right.
but they just kind of go by so quickly with no real build up or no stakes
That's what I'm saying.
or anything. Like the
payoff is not
Yeah,
Right.
there's no real payoff. There's no stakes. Like you already
Like even
you
when
know.
they shoot Valeria in a scene later, when she
Right.
kind of follows him, I'm like, okay, like we don't care about her yet, do we?
Yeah.
Like she,
it
no,
was
for
like
5
the moment,
minutes.
It was like the moment you care about her, she dies.
right?
It was
Right,
a
it's
sense
like,
of humanity.
well, and it's like, is this going to be the point where he actually starts to give a crap about
Yes, I was
somebody
just
because
gonna say,
he's like,
he does have
release
a
her
sense of
too,
humanity.
and then,
Yeah.
but then she dies, and there goes that whole
In
thing.
a completely random drive-by shooting that
meant nothing.
meant nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you look at when that happens to her, when she does get killed, you see that he's kind of like, and then he snaps out of it and goes back to being
guess.
that one guy.
Right.
For a half
he
second.
had
For a
that
Half
look
sec-
in
he
his
had
head.
that look when he was all exactly.
And then he's like,
nope, I'm done.
I'm back. I'm
Yeah.
Snake Plissken. F it.
You know.
All right,
I'm in.
you're right. He's
I'm
the greatest
moving on.
character ever now.
I'm not saying he's the greatest character ever. I'm just saying he's one of the
No, just
coolest.
kidding.
He's one of the coolest anti-heroes.
Then they were just on the cusp of doing what I wanted, but they just didn't
Okay.
quite
Right.
do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then they just didn't put enough into that side character. It's kind of like in Cyborg. Like they at least introduced the girl, the tag along,
Right.
like right away. And so by the time something happened to her, you cared.
Right.
And so did he, even though he was kind of a barely spoke, mute loner, kind of, shoot first, ask questions later kind of a guy. So not to compare, the character of Cyborg to Snake Plissken.
no, but they're two
you know.
characters broken by the world.
Yeah, exactly. And so after this is now he gets picked up by Eddie because there's this drive-by and Eddie shows up and he's like, "Hey man, hop in the car." And
Oh yeah, this is
where
right.
he gets
now he gets fun gunned.
he gets the
right.
the glove box.
And then you get a weird Quentin Tarantino acid trip.
Yeah, and so we get in. Now we're in Cuervo's hideout, and as Snake is waking up, one of the funniest moments in the entire movie, you hear Map of the Stars Eddie negotiating for a finder's fee
With Cuervo Jones.
with Cuervo Jones, like for when he takes over the United States, and all he wants is Wisconsin.
Yes. Yep. There it
Because
is.
Wisconsin's awesome.
Like, yo, man, I'm okay with that. Like, if Cuervo, like, we got Map to the Stars Eddie out of those two.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll take Map to the Stars,
Yeah,
Eddie.
if we got
No,
Map
it's
to the
the-
Stars and Cuervo got everything else, we would be okay.
I think
I'd
so.
go with Cuervo, man. I think
Yeah.
Map Star Eddie just might have some short man syndrome.
Okay, all right, that's just fine.
You might run into more problems with.
There's two things that are hilarious that happen in this scene. One is they literally like dusted off the guy from Saving Private Ryan to come in and do an expo dump on the Doomsday device.
Okay. First of all, Leland Orser, another absolute unsung character actor of the 90s.
Yes.
Who just shows up like he was in Seven. He had one of the most unsettling scenes in Seven.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do in a movie that is as unsettling as Seven.
And he was in Taken.
Yes.
And Saving Private Ryan.
Yes.
Great character actor.
He is.
His scene was really good. How he
But it
explained
just
everything.
showed up for one scene, and then he's like explained everything. He's like, I'm out of this movie.
But he shows up.
Well, that's because they spent all the money on the sub.
But the way he explained it
I was just
so
gonna say,
awesome.
And this is one of those ways where when you have to do expo dump,
Yes.
this is a shining moment, in my opinion. This is a shining example of a good way to
Do it like
expo
this.
dump.
Oh, no, for sure.
Yes.
I just wasn't annoyed that they brought him in just to do the expo dump.
Right.
And then left. Because I was like thrilled when he showed up. I was like, oh, this guy.
Yeah, Leland Orser.
Yeah,
all right.
okay.
Yeah.
Here's how the Doomsday device works. You punch in these numbers, then you can destroy the world with an EMP. All right, guys, see you later.
Yep.
And that's when he's out of the movie.
Don't worry, I don't want Minnesota for doing this.
Yes.
All right.
But
Wisconsin.
but the gravitas was there.
Oh, yes, because he's such a great actor.
He did it with flair.
worked.
Flair
He
and
did it with flair.
sexiness.
The other funny thing that happened in the scene is now they go live to the United States to say, I have the satellite that's going to destroy the world.
Who did you hate more in this movie as the bad guy? Cuervo or the president?
Oh, the president's way worse than Cuervo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually started kind of liking Cuervo here and there.
Yeah.
But I was like, I could not stand the
I
president.
did. Yeah, exactly. I did too. I'm like, Cuervo. He's kind of a fun
cool.
guy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, when he does what you're just talking about, the Vicom video
Yeah,
towards the president.
where he's telling the United States, like, I'm going to destroy, and ends up destroying Lynchburg, with an EMP while he's on the video,
He shuts down the president's hometown of Lynchburg.
which is now the new capital.
Right.
capital.
Lynchburg is the new capital.
What's funny is they chain up Snake to this treadmill, and he's in the background of the shot.
That was another part. that was
He's just
another
walking
part
in
of
the
the
background.
He's just walking.
Look.
He's like, see, I told you he's still alive. Look at him right there.
Yes. Why is he on a treadmill?
Why don't you just put your feet on both sides of the treadmill and you don't have to walk?
Why is he on a treadmill to begin with?
Either
Leg
of
day.
those things are valid questions.
I'm just
It's the
saying.
90s. Everyone was on a treadmill.
Either you didn't have to be, but second, you didn't have to walk either. You can just not
you
walk
could-
when you're on a
yeah,
treadmill.
Okay, if I was Cuervo Jones, I would have cranked that thing to full speed and made it.
Made him run.
It wouldn't matter. You just put one foot on each side of the treadmill and you
But
can just
not
stand
really.
there.
But if your hands are like this and you can't,
Yeah.
don't
I
act
don't
quick
know.
enough.
It was another moment for me that I was like, oh yeah, this movie knows what it's doing.
Well, that's what I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
they're going to leave him there to walk himself to death, and they didn't even do that. He was just like on there
just for the video.
just for the video to say, oh, yeah, see, I told you. Pliskin's still alive. There he is.
You know what? Maybe it was his cardio warm up for what was to come.
Oh,
The LA Coliseum.
The only lame thing about the expo dump, even though I like how they do it with the character actor, is that they literally do it right in front of Snake. I mean, they're standing 1 foot in front. Make sure you don't forget the world code. This is the code you've got to put in to destroy the
there's
world.
not going to be a hooker by the time he to do the data dump
good
on him after he
foreshadowing.
gets.
Right in front of Snake.
it's good
They'd
foreshadowing.
be like,
but don't
did you
they
get that?
Yeah.
But do all the
Right,
great
right.
Did you get all that, Snake?
Right.
Spaceballs? Did you get all that? Good. Yes. But it's good foreshadowing.
Yeah,
Oh, my
don't
gosh.
forget the world domination. Don't forget the world domination code
Oh.
666.
Yes, thank you. What is the world domination
He
code?
He woke up just in time to hear that.
I know. That's what I'm
I
saying.
love how that's the world domination code, and there's like your password for your Apple phone these days are even more complicated than that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, at least, and then Apple never gets back to you. You have to reset it.
Yeah, with all the, and then you got to do your 2-step verification. So then you got to go to your email to click yes, I accept this iPhone.
And then
Right. Snake had been trying to blow up the world, and it said, like, click here if you're not a robot.
We just need 3 numbers.
Put your thumbprint here and the thing
You
doesn't
do the
work
CAPTCHA or whatever,
I was just gonna
right?
say there's no CAPTCHA.
Pick all the
There's not
pictures
even
that
a
are
CAPTCHA.
streetlights.
All the ones with streetlights in it, please.
It's just
Pick
no.
a 5-minute scene of Snake trying to figure this out.
Which one is a painting of Santa Monica?
All right, so in the interest of time, Snake is shipped off to the LA Coliseum. This is our second movie to feature the LA Coliseum.
Yes.
The first one being Winners Take All.
Even though it was Texas Stadium.
From the outside. Regardless, this was actually inside the Coliseum.
They got it right this time.
They did. This is where another $1 million of their budget went to. They trashed the inside of the Coliseum to have, I don't know, these gladiator games. It looks like they're putting people through all kinds of horrible,
Vince McMahon would be happy.
Vince McMahon. It's like gladiators fighting each other. It's people doing, games of chance. They have no chance of winning.
Yeah.
Just for the entertainment of these people. Everyone in the audience has an AK-47, right?
Yep.
Like it's crazy.
They hand them out. That's you come in, they hand them out.
It was giveaway day. The first 1,000 people get an AK-47.
And they require you to shoot it into the air with joy.
They do.
And the bullets never fall down.
No.
Well, speaking of what else bullets don't do, the first guy in the basketball game loses. He's had, the shot clock expires. He didn't make enough points.
Yep.
And they shoot him. The problem is they're in a 360 around this guy, and they all shoot him.
That is the first of 2 times in this film that this also happens, in which there is a full circle of men shooting
Into the
assault
circle.
rifles into the circle, but yet
Nobody is killed.
Yes, exactly.
Of their own guys. No
their
friendly
own men.
fire at all.
No friendly.
Just as I'm a civilian, and I know don't get into crossfire like that.
Yeah. Very bad muzzle awareness. That's for
It's
sure.
not good.
Excellent shooting skills.
Yeah. So Snake is put into this basketball court. He's locked into it, and he basically has to make 5 baskets, get 10 points.
Basketball.
Full court. That's right.
2 hoops, full court, 10 seconds shot clock. Miss a shot, you get shot. Clock goes out before you shoot, you get shot. 2 points for a basket, no 3-point bull crap.
That's right.
All you got to do is make 10 points. That's it.
That's it. Also, no one's ever done it before.
Yeah.
Right?
You may have survived Cleveland. You may have escaped from New York. But this is LA. And you're about to find out that this city can kill anybody.
Yeah, except for Snake Plissken.
Nuts.
Yeah. Apparently they didn't see the first.
Snake.
Apparently they didn't see the first
Because
movie.
look, this cat could ball. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Apparently, they didn't know that Pliskin could play football.
Yes.
Well, then they shouldn't have put him on the treadmill to get warmed up before.
He played for Oklahoma in '78.
Yeah, and
Ooh.
what was it? Because this was also a beat they repeated from Escape in New York, right? Because they also had to have him.
It was like a wrestling.
It was like a
wrestling
wrestling,
whatever,
boxing with
different
different
weapons.
Yeah.
Just another rehash,
the,
basically.
Yeah.
At the New York, what is it? The Manhattan
Madison
Hall.
The Madison Square Garden.
Madison Square
Yeah.
Garden.
Yes.
So he obviously Snake and Kurt Russell actually made these shots himself.
This
is
was
one thing I
the
will
funniest
say.
bit of
Yeah.
trivia too. When so Kurt Russell practiced basketball for 2 months in preparation to film this scene, and the scene features him actually making every single shot,
including a full court shot.
a full court quarterback Hail Mary that did not look digitally touched up at all.
And thank God he's able to do it without CGI. Because if this movie had to CGI a basketball shot going on, it would have looked like South Park. It would have been like a cardboard ball back and forth into the hoop.
At that point, they should just put NBA Jam on there. And
Right.
Oh God.
Gosh.
Can you imagine if they had to CGI that shot? They're like, the Buena Vista head there is on set. He's like, Kurt, you got to make this shot, man.
We can't.
We can't do it.
CGI this.
we're out of money. We can't get the guys from NBA
All
Jam
right.
in here. to
I
put
saw the
this in.
sub footage. You don't want to know. You got to make this shot.
Tell me it looked awful though.
Yeah, but he made it though.
That's the part that I find funny about the bit of trivia, because I read that and I was like, you're telling me that was actually real, because
was.
that looked like one of the fakest shots in the
You
film.
see a lot of it on TikTok now. These people just throwing balls
people
across
just throw
course
them
and
up,
they make it.
Yeah, but it is
so Snake is
2022.
Snake is able to escape because they were going to shoot him anyway, even though he completed the thing.
Yeah, Cuervo was going to snipe him.
He walks up to the cage, he shakes the cage, and then
They're going to kill him anyway.
President Starr's like, you can't kill him. And he goes, I have to.
He's able to break out, and he actually gets the box. I'm going to have to just moving a little quicker now because we're already at an hour 50.
After an earthquake hits.
Yeah. So he's able to grab the Doomsday device.
Yeah,
Perfectly timed earthquake.
Yeah,
that happens multiple times. In this movie.
Yeah, it does.
There's a time where Eddie's lining up a shot on him, earthquake, right?
Yeah.
Can't quite hit it. This time, earthquake, perfectly timed. Like it's
There's
almost
a lot
like
of earthquakes in one night.
the earthquake is a paid actor,
A lot.
Earthquake by Buena Vista.
right? Like
one thing they
Stacy
got
Keach
right.
gets on. I thought you might try to do that, so we programmed.
We programmed the earthquakes.
We thought you might try to kill snakes, so we put an earthquake in there.
This movie's great. Stop it.
Honestly.
Stop it now.
He ends up in the sewer, but Map to the Stars, Eddie, and the President's daughter goes down there.
Utopia.
He doesn't allow Utopia to come with him. She realizes that she was supposed to get killed.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Humanity kicks in.
And then Eddie gets the Doomsday device and brings it back after Snake gets shot.
The Sword of Damocles.
The Sword of Damocles, yeah.
Yes.
And brings it up.
Snake gets shot in the same leg he got shot in, and
Escape from New York.
That's right. Thank you.
Really?
And so
all right.
Yeah,
That's
the arrow went into his left leg.
Yeah.
they're going to the big staging ground for their invasion into the U.S., and which is also Happy Kingdom. Because
Kingdom, yep.
Disney said, no effing way am I we letting you do the Magic Kingdom.
You are not using Disney said no, absolutely
They
not.
made a joke about that. The place kept changing owners.
Right,
He goes,
right.
is that what I think it is? He goes, yeah. The place kept changing owners.
It's supposed to be Disneyland.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Like, we're going to Anaheim. They kind of do everything they can to hint.
Disney learned from the U.S. Air Force and Iron Eagle.
Like, nope.
Yep.
But here's this is the worst, the absolute worst thing that happened. So he's got to get out of he came out in like a ravine.
Yeah, so he goes down the sewer, right? Gets flushed out into a ravine, and he happens to run into Peter Fonda.
Which is not the reason. Which is not the reason this part sucks.
Oh no!
Is that you, bro?
But he's waiting.
Far out, man. Hey, did you find Cuervo, man?
So Peter Fonda gives us.
man. It's the greatest scene ever from the music.
This was a fun scene.
Yes, thank you. You're outnumbered. You're outnumbered.
So Peter Fonda gives us the wonderful
ahead and talk into the
expo dump.
Hey, dude, you want an edible?
All right.
That's the only way to explain what this looked like. Is that they were.
Oh yes.
He was actually just driving him in a car, but he was high on edibles.
That's pre-workout and cocaine, baby.
That's right. If you took all the CGI shots in any movie ever created and lined them up next to each other, this surfing scene has got to be top 5 of the worst effect scenes ever.
Oh yeah, it was horrible.
rendered.
It was horrible. I agree with that.
Ever.
So just the preface.
You're just
the earthquake. The earthquake causes tsunamis.
Yes.
Peter Fonda knows this, and he is waiting in this
Ravine.
dredged out ravine with 2 surfbords,
Which is
conveniently.
Well, he had a whole car.
He had a whole car
He
full
had
of
a whole
them.
car full of them. Yeah.
And he gives him like a 2-second
he's all right.
teaching class.
This is the rundown.
Yeah,
Here's the rundown of how you surf.
and Snake
And this tsunami fills the pipeline. And now we have Snake
surfing
and Peter
perfectly.
Fonda
with a shot up leg.
with a shot up leg surfing a tsunami raging through a ravine in Los Angeles.
with kick butt rock and roll.
Which by itself would be bad enough. But then they end up coming up next to Map to the Stars and Eddie, who's just driving next to the wave.
To be driving his
Map of
Cadillac.
the Stars, Eddie. We knew you might be driving right here, so
Water travels fast.
And so he looks over and he's like, and Peter Fonda just knows instinctively.
Yes.
he's just like, all right, dude,
All right,
go do what
dude,
you gotta
go
do.
do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
And he says,
This is where he says later and holds out his hand, and Peter Fonda goes, "Oh,
Yes.
Snake!" and dives out. He didn't know
high
instinctively.
five. The high
Snake
five
looks at
on
him.
the
That's not what
tsunami.
happened.
Later, it is what happened. Are you gonna?
That's after the fact.
No.
Regardless, it's the dump. He jumps from his surfboard and his tsunami wave onto the car, the moving car.
Great.
It's not
so
great.
great.
There's so
Look.
many words to describe it. Great is not one of them.
So
Onto the moving car.
It was kind of fun. Great isn't the word.
All right.
It was kind of fun.
Tell me on
dumb.
paper. Tell me on paper, it is not one of the coolest ideas of all time.
It's the problem is the execution,
Yes.
not the idea itself.
Yes.
It's the execution.
I give him an A+ for
The idea, for creativity, fun,
A+.
awesome. I'm right there with you. The way it was executed, just I couldn't even allow myself to.
And my
enjoy it.
wife was like, how's he surfing that and catching up to a car?
Water is fast.
travels fast.
Water travels fast.
Hey,
All
by
right,
the way,
so-
it looks 100 times better on 4K.
Oh, I can't imagine that's
I'll
true.
let you borrow it.
He's not
Please
gonna watch
don't.
it.
I'll let you borrow it because just watch the surfing
He
scene.
won't.
All right, fine.
After it's been
won't.
touched up.
All right. So here's what ends up happening. He's like, all right, we got to find Hershey. Now he's looking for the whole movie is him just looking for people.
Yeah.
The idiosyncratically named characters.
He ends up at the Queen Mary, the ship where Hershey is.
Yes.
He walks in, and here's Pam Grier, who plays, in this case, actually a transgender person who used to be Carjack
Malone.
From Cleveland.
From Cleveland.
I know that voice. Carjack Malone.
And not only that, it's the Big Trouble in Little China squad
Yes.
with Pam Grier. It's
The
like
stunt-
all the dudes from Big Trouble in Little China.
The stunt team.
The stunt team.
Saigon
And the
Shadow.
The fight choreographers.
Yeah, the Shang-Chi's and the Wing Kongs.
Jeff Amata and who's the other guy? Jeff Amata's one.
I don't know
of them.
their names, but I
Jeff
recognize
Amata.
all of them.
Jeff Amata is the guy that said the Nightwing.
Yeah.
That's Jeff Amata.
They're all from that movie.
If I'm incorrect, please correct me, internet. But I'm pretty
And
sure
David
it's Jeff Amata.
Lopan would have been there too if they didn't kill him off.
That's what I'm saying.
All in the reflexes.
And this is the first time we hear from Pam Grier that Plutoxin might be a hoax, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't think he believes her.
No.
But this is what she
Rumor
says.
controlled government.
Right. And he enlists her help, more
Or
like
government-controlled rumor, whatever.
forces her hand to help because she owes him one from
Right.
Cleveland, which we don't know anything about. But they're going to help him attack the Magic Kingdom or the Happy Kingdom and stop Cuervo's invasion and get the Doomsday device, right?
Yeah.
These like 10 people.
That she prefaces with Cuervo has more firepower than any two armies.
Right.
Which I'm like, so I guess armies really went to crap in the New World.
Right.
And so
how do you have
the
that much more
genius
firepower?
idea to how do you take on somebody with two armies? You just hand glide your 10 people into the middle of the arena.
Well, that's how you always do it, right?
Flying winged thingamajiggies.
That's right.
That we're going to go up on the flaming Hollywood hills and
Right.
ride the Santa Ana winds to...
And they were up high.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they were flying way
Yeah.
higher than
Yeah.
they would have had to have jumped off.
I
of
mean,
at
those
one point.
Santa Ana winds they're
I know that's a real deal.
a thing.
Yep.
So I'll even let that part go. But at the point where they actually get there, they take forever to land. Some of these guys are literally just hovering over this. All of them would have gotten blown out
This
of the
is
sky.
and this is exactly when you were talking about earlier about the like the Uzi guy,
Right.
and all that, and like the pace that these guys are flying through the air. It's like you don't even need an army to shoot at them. You need one guy with one 12-gauge round, and that's it.
Yeah.
They're just right. I'm like, why haven't every one of these people
Well,
been shot
they
out of the
should have
sky?
got the farmer from Air America and they were just 12 gauge and just pick them off.
Right. They're just like zooming in very, very slowly.
Yeah,
Well, you know, if you fly into LAX, you do that, you know, on occasion.
It takes
just
a while.
It takes a while. I get it.
He's able to get long story short,
Good fight scene between him and Cuervo.
great fight scene.
Yep.
That was probably the best action sequence in the movie.
so the president is sending in a top secret stealth helicopter to land there for whatever blah blah blah,
Right.
blah reason.
Made by the same CGI
Yeah.
sub people.
Yep.
Send in the Picasso helicopter.
So they get him. So they.
Which
so,
was the,
so after Jose and Snake duke it out, and Eddie shoots Jose in the chest, and they get in this helicopter, and
Yes.
they head back to.
Back to the mainland with the
Utopia
thing.
gets in there.
But then Jose, right before he dies, launches a rocket and fries out Pam Grier out of the helicopter.
That's right. Everybody
Yeah.
in the back seat is burned
Everybody in the
alive.
back
Completely
seat.
fried. But,
but it's, and
the
the fire
president,
is limited there. I mean,
that's
right.
it's just
it's just limited to the back seat.
Yeah.
The front seat, it's not allowed to be in the front seat.
No.
Utopia's
It's got
fine,
something
Snake's fine, and Eddie falls off the helicopter.
He jumps.
to
So
avoid.
he
jumps
jumps
off
to the
the
stars. Eddie
helicopter.
jumps out of the helicopter.
So he tries to drop Utopia off somewhere else so that the president won't find her.
yeah.
And puts in what is mapped to the stars. Eddie's thing happens to look just like the Doomsday device.
Oh yeah, because he borrowed
right?
Pam
Because he borrowed
Grier's,
Pam Grier's thing.
nail polish
Nail
and put
polish.
the little red dot
Yep.
on it.
Plants that on Utopia, and then lands himself, where he's discovered by the authorities.
Yes.
And because this is all kind of convoluted, I'm going to try and sum this up as quickly as I can.
This is a great scene, though.
It is a good scene. But it's hard to follow, right? If you're not watching it. Utopia, or first Snake is captured, and they're all surrounding him. He's not captured. And they're like, hand over the thing, good job, whatever. And he's got the thing in his hand, but before they can take it, they bring Utopia, and they found her and captured her. He finds the fake Doomsday device on her and assumes that Snake pulled the old switcheroo.
yeah.
Thought you could do the switcheroo on us again.
The Texas switch.
The Texas switch or whatever. Now we've got the Doomsday device. Go ahead and shoot and kill Snake. Well, not yet. First he starts his press conference, right?
Yeah.
Right. The president.
The president starts his press conference.
Well, and then they take was a press conference.
It was right there,
after-
like literally right where
there.
they were.
Yeah.
And they took his daughter to the chair.
Yeah.
To go be electrocuted.
Right.
She's getting strapped in.
Because, yes, they mentioned the armada of Navy ships
from Cuba that's going to invade.
Going to invade Miami.
Right. And so the president gets on TV and he's like, I'm going to use this to shut down Cuba and Haiti or wherever else.
Basically going to shut down this invading armada.
Armada, right? Yeah. And when he punches in the numbers to do it, it starts playing Map of the Stars Eddie's little jingle, you know.
It's great.
And they realize Snake has the real one.
Yep.
And they're like, he's like, shoot him, whatever. But they realize then he's the hologram.
Yep. So they shoot in a circle at
close range.
They shoot in a circle at close range at a hologram of Snake Plissken.
It was a great line, though. I hope it was worth it because you're now going to die. Everybody does.
Everybody does.
And
That's true.
It was like the lines in this ending sequence, the dialogue was really
Kurt Russell wrote the ending.
Yes. It's a great ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Kurt is somewhere else, somewhere within a half mile.
He's not even here. He's a hologram.
Right.
Yeah.
And what Snake ends up doing is he's like, he takes out the device, like, you can't do it. You'll send us back.
Shut down the third
We'll have to start over, right?
Yeah.
And in Snake's eyes, the world has gone to such crap that starting over is a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so he puts in the world code that Mr. Expo Dump said conveniently in front of him.
Yes.
And EMPs the entire world.
Yep. Shuts down the planet.
Shuts down the planet back to the Stone Age.
Yep.
Or the Dark Ages, I think is what they said.
Yep.
And the last shot of him is him, lighting up a cigarette, which you're not allowed to have in America anymore.
Oh, it's one of the best lines. Real quick. I'm sorry. I know I'm.
No, go ahead.
This up, but is when he goes, when Stacy Keach walks up to Bliskin and goes, you're becoming very predictable. Yeah, I suppose so. Do you have a smoke? The United States is a no smoking nation. No smoking, no drinking, no drugs, no women, unless of course you're married. No guns, no foul language, no red meat. And then Snake just says, land of the free.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
Great line.
Yep.
It's a great line.
Yep.
And the reason that they have all that in there is to remind the audience of the situation and justify Snake's decision.
Yes.
To reset the planet. Because without a little reminder and without all that stuff coming from Stacy Keach, I think people maybe are like, why on earth would Snake kill the planet?
But I think this is where I would say
it's just an EMP though. It's not.
Well, but it's
when everything's
a reset of technology, essentially.
Exactly.
When everything's run by technology, like we are right now, it's just
right.
One EMP to shut down the world.
Yeah, we wouldn't know what to do with ourselves.
Seeing back in those days, they would have still had paper.
Right. It was like payphones.
And I don't care what the movie says, no EMP could ever destroy batteries. It was like, even batteries. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That's not true. But all the other stuff, would absolutely
It was
shut
chewable.
down.
The battery thing was chewable. But yes, I understood your point. Like, okay, that's a little far-fetched, but okay, we'll allow that.
They're just trying to make sure the audience understands that everything will be shut down, right?
Hype.
Yeah. But that was Escape from L.A., and that's how the movie ends on a single shot. It was a cool shot. Carpenter's a good filmmaker when he's not heavily relying on CG, right? I mean, look at his past films that had no CG in them, and they're beautifully shot.
Yeah.
And the last shot is of Snake Plissken blowing out his match. Fade to black.
What's the last line?
Welcome to the human race.
That's right.
Yeah. Yep. Then Rob Zombie's song kicks on.
That's right. Yep.
I love the last song. I love Rob Zombie.
That was
great. Really good.
So it's time, as always, to take a look at, look back over our shoulder at the wasted landscape of Los Angeles and decide and determine how we are going to ourselves grade and look and, assess and autopsy this movie that,
Sorry, man. You like
that we just,
come here. You love
what
it.
are we doing?
You love it.
I love it.
You love Escape from LA.
Why are you rubbing my hand? He really wants me to like it. All right. That's enough.
You know what? This is exactly what happened in 2012. I was falling asleep on his couch. And I started feeling
hold on. Whoa. That's a little joke. That's it. That's a little joke there. So, guys, as always, if there's anything I missed, anything on your notes, anything that you'd like to mention, now is the time where we can discuss the little things. Any little things you noticed, saw in this movie that you want to bring up? Now's your chance. Otherwise, we're moving on to awards.
For me, it was always, how tall is Kurt Russell?
5'8".
No, I think he's 5'10".
Let's find out.
Look out.
Look it up, because it was always one of those, that seemed to be kind of one of the running jokes anyway. Like Escape from New York was like, I thought he was dead. He was dead. They mentioned that, I think, once or twice here, but it's always, I thought you'd be taller.
And everybody seems to know who he is.
Right. Except for dartboard
Except
guy.
for dartboard guy.
Dartboard.
Who never would have gave him a hard time if he had known it was
Right.
Snake
Oh,
Plissken.
you're Snake Plissken.
Right.
Yeah, thought you were
Give me
telling.
1 second, John.
Yeah,
Maybe,
no problem.
maybe it's because his reputation is larger than life.
That could be.
Well, like in Braveheart, right? He's like, William Wallace is 7 feet tall, right?
Yes,
That was
okay,
like,
so that was just historically anachronistic. But,
just saying.
we'll give Mel Gibson the
5'11" barefoot.
He wasn't actually 7, but the guys
6
built up
feet
his legend to
in
say he
shoes.
was.
Okay.
Yeah, about, he's 5'11".
Just a little shorter than I am then.
There's kind of a thing that William Wallace was actually like 6'7", and they just kind of Mel
got
Gibson
you.
played him, but whatever.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, Mel Gibson was larger than life.
All right. Anything else from Little Things, guys? But you're right.
He came in dressed like he was so 20th century too. I mean,
That was funny. That it was the original outfit.
that was funny. Yeah,
That still fit,
Right.
Original
Like
outfit.
he's
That's
17
crazy.
years
Really?
later.
I did like the
20th century.
Escape from LA outfit better than the Escape from New York one, though.
I did too. Actually.
The soundtrack, the Carpenter and Alan Hawthorne's musical score for this film was better than the Escape from New York film.
I think it's funny that this was the preface for. So, who has seen Ghosts of Mars in the room?
I have, yeah.
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 Which was essentially John Carpenter's absolute last Hollywood film.
Yeah.
In 2001 was his Ghosts of Mars. That was actually supposed to be the next Snake Plissken film. And because Escape from LA did so bad, the Plissken trilogy, as it would have been,
It's called Escape from Planet Earth. Escape from Earth.
and now there's like two different forms of trivia. There's Escape from Earth, and then there's Escape from Mars.
There's Escape from Menards. That's a different movie.
That's my life right there.
Bob in 2010.
That was me in 2010.
But
Damn.
essentially that,
Yeah, that was going to be it, huh?
this was going to be it, that Snake leaves Earth, goes to Mars, there's a colony on Mars, saves a doctor, whatever, then there's
Sure.
ghosts on Mars, but
Okay.
apparently Ice Cube was hotter than
bankable.
Kurt
If
Russell.
only we could have. If only.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have been better. Maybe
And
I would have
that's-
enjoyed it more.
That's where that came from, though.
Well, it's time to give some awards, as we always do to these movies. And Escape from LA, when it came out, definitely didn't get any. So this might be the first awards it's ever received in its existence. We'll see. But the first thing we always do is the Will Patton Award for Intensity. Not an acting award. It can be for a good actor, but it's who was the most intense in their performance. Bob, I'll start with you.
Cliff Robinson.
Cliff Robinson.
He was the most
Unexpected.
insane, diabolical nut job of a president I've ever saw in my life.
Okay.
And he brought it every time he was on screen.
Fair enough. Ryan?
I'm going to go with Leland Orser.
Leland Orser.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
That was good. That's a good pick.
Because he showed up for the one scene of Expo Dump. His name is Test Tube, by the way. His character's
Oh, he has a name.
Yes, his character's name
Wasn't
is
the tickler?
It was not the tickler.
Nothing would be as great as the tickler.
No, but
That sunglasses throwing maniac.
yeah.
All right.
Ninja eyeglass
I think
wearer.
that's a good pick. Ryan?
I had to go with Kurt Russell. I mean, Snake Plissken is kind of an intense guy.
Super.
So
That's who I
had
went
to go
with, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had
with
to go
Kurt
with
Russell. But I like both of those. Those were unexpected
They're good
choices.
picks.
I thought it was going to be a clean sweep for Kurt just because of the nature of Snake Plissken and
Right.
It was
his smoldering intensity is his thing,
I was a toss-up between Leland Orser and Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
All
Bruce Campbell really
Because
did
I
good
thought
too.
his cameo, the Surgeon General, he was one of the only of those little brief
Yeah.
things that, like, he brought it.
Oh, sure.
Whereas, like, the other, Muslim from South Dakota, she was...
I like the actress, but yeah.
Yeah, but it was just nothing.
Well, here's your opportunity now, guys.
Yeah.
We have the Michael Dudikoff Trash Can Full of Dirt Award, which goes to our actor in this movie who did the worst. He was whose acting performance was akin to a trash can full of dirt.
AJ Langler.
Who is AJ Langler?
Utopia.
Utopia?
Yes.
All
AJ
right.
Langer. Utopia.
I also had Utopia. I just had the character name, but I couldn't remember what her name was.
AJ Langer.
She was terrible.
She was absolutely terrible.
I don't know if she did anything after this or before it or what, but
She was god awful.
he wanted Goldie Hawn for that part,
Yeah.
Kurt Russell, but she was sick at the
Play
time.
Utopia?
Yes,
No,
to play-
Kate Hudson.
That's what I meant. What did I say? Goldie Hawn?
Goldie Hawn. I'm like,
Yes, Kate Hudson.
Yeah.
Sorry,
okay.
but she was sick. Couldn't do it.
I could see that happening. That would have been great.
Would have been awesome.
Would have been
She was
interesting.
not great. Ryan Farrell.
Honestly, Peter Fonda.
Peter Fonda.
Yeah.
Dude, come on.
Bro.
It's more
No,
based.
bro.
It's more based on his first. So he has 2 scenes in the movie,
Yes.
and when he first comes up from his submarine that collapses back into the ocean, and there's like the floating kayaks of guys with machine guns coming up to him, and and Peter Fonda's just like in the woods with a gun as well, and just like, oh hey, well, oh yeah, Snake, hey dude, yeah, well, you want to do like this, but
We'd appreciate if you stay off our beach.
yeah, I don't know. I just I didn't feel it from him at all. And I really like Peter Fonda. And that was kind of the thing with me where I'm like,
Okay.
from where Peter Fonda is in my book, in my caliber, to then see him do what he did in this movie, I was like, no, man. Like, no.
All right. All right.
I agree, though. I mean, Utopia was terrible.
Yeah, Utopia was.
She was sad.
She was a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I was toss up. I was between President Jimmy Baker here and Utopia. What? I'm gonna ultimately go with Utopia.
Okay, all right.
She was awful. And one thing about the plane scene too,
Yes.
where she jumped into the hatch.
Oh, right.
Did they screw that shot up? Because when they pulled back, you could see like it was
thing
almost like
really
it was
expand-
a news broadcast
Yes.
of her getting into the plane, not actually
Yes.
in the plane. They pull back and you see all the cameras and everything else.
That's what I'm saying. I
Well,
don't
that
know if that was messed up.
I don't know if it was messed up or
Were they filming the broadcast of that scene when they did that? Yeah. That was supposed to be like the presidential broadcast.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it was her taking the suitcase, jumping, but yeah, she
But I
was
know what you're talking about. The
awful.
pullback and all
right.
that.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
then
she was
Utopia,
awful.
AJ, what's her name?
AJ Langer.
AJ Langer is our Michael Dudikoff trash can full of dirt.
Not
award
quite enough to get
winner.
the trash can full of dirt award renamed.
No. That's going to take a
was bad.
Herculean
It's gonna
effort
be, yeah.
for somebody to take that from Michael Dudikoff. So, all right, quickly, who are your top 3 favorite performers? This is subjective, not who was the best, but who you thought you enjoyed the most.
I would say Cliff Robinson, George Corface, and Kurt Russell.
Okay, Ryan.
I would say Kurt Russell, Leland Orser, and Bruce Campbell, probably.
Okay,
Not in any particular order.
Sure.
but yeah.
I got Kurt Russell, Steve Buscemi, because he always, does an awesome job playing a dirtbag.
yeah, he does.
He does.
And then I had Cuervo Jones.
Cuervo Jones. All right,
That's George
Those
Corface.
are- George Corface. I had Bruce Campbell, Steve Buscemi, and
What?
Peter Fonda.
Oh, all right. I get it. I just, to me, it was.
This is the ones I enjoyed the
Yeah,
most.
yeah.
It's not who's the best actor in the movie, but I enjoyed seeing him doing that in the movie.
Yeah.
But
I enjoyed his character.
The concept of his character was great. I just thought his first scene with the expo that he was trying to deliver was just so.
Sure.
And I think Buscemi, to me, he didn't go full Buscemi.
No, he was pretty subdued from a Steve Buscemi
And that was another thing where I was like, okay, Steve was great. Map to the Stars Eddie was a fantastic character, but didn't get to the full Buscemi.
It wasn't. Yeah, it definitely wasn't his full.
One of it's on his GQ list of famous roles he's played.
I don't know.
Steve Buscemi's.
Well, guys, it's time to answer the question that this all boils down to. It's the subjective married to the objective. Is it an objectively good or bad movie? And then you're subjectively, do you like it or not, right? So it's either a bad movie that's just bad, it's a bad movie that rules, or it's a straight up good movie. What do you think, Bob?
It's a bad movie that rules.
Okay.
Straight up. I'm not going to deny I know what it is.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think the pros for me outweigh the cons, and I think it's a much more enjoyable film than the first movie. The first movie is fantastic in filmmaking standpoints.
Yeah, classic.
But for entertainment, rewatch value, it's boring sometimes.
All right. Mr. Farrell.
Oh, bad movie that rules.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Because it is bad. I mean, like I said, admittedly, I didn't even like it when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Then you spend the night on my couch.
And then, like I said, it was one of those lonely nights in 2012. And then,
The heat went out.
yep. Fell asleep on Bob's couch and I woke
All right,
up.
we're going to move on quickly. So, Mr. Mueller.
Look, I woke up and I was like, wow, Escape from LA. That's a great movie. Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to know how you guys got there. Go ahead.
The name's Pliskin.
Sorry. Call me Snake. Bob Pliskin, what do you got?
Definitely a bad movie. I would say a bad movie that's meh.
It's mad.
May watch it again.
I respect that. Okay.
Maybe.
So you're right on the border there then.
Yeah, it's on the border. I mean,
That's a good place to go.
I'm putting it up against Iron Eagle. It's like there's no way in hell I'm watching Iron Eagle ever again.
Come on.
This one, I might.
Okay.
If it's on AMC or TNT,
Yeah,
like 3 in the morning.
I own it's. I have it on. I own it on.
If I'm in the
Vudu
ER,
now, so I
I
might
turn the TV on. It's
pop it back on again, and when I'm in the mood for Picasso Copter and
Fair enough.
Walks into a Bob Ross.
All right. Well, look, guys, I'm just going to say this is just a bad movie, full stop. It doesn't even rule. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Bob. I did. I couldn't wait for this movie to be over. There's some movies that I watched that are 3 hours that feel like 2. This was 90 minutes that felt like 3 hours. I was struggling to get through this movie.
I'm sorry, man.
And what's funny is all the other Bob specials that we've reviewed, I had hated because they were on so much, but then I go back to I like 3,000 Miles better than I thought I did. I like Wild Wild West better than I thought I did.
Very shocked about that one.
Right? I like Waterworld better than I thought I did.
You actually said Waterworld was a good movie.
I did,
Yeah.
and I never
we
used to
both
think
did,
that.
yeah.
So it's not like I am not capable of coming around on things. And I thought before I put it on, this is going to be yet the next one that I've come around on, but I hated it even more than I used to. Okay, so I'm sorry to say
It's all
that
good,
it's
man.
that it's just not for this one. Okay, it's just bad. But I'll tell you what, Arnold Schwarzenegger would have made this movie so much better.
All right, so
All right, and you love Arnold. I don't understand why this question always makes you so upset because
it
you're a
doesn't make
fan
me
of his. You're always like, no.
there's certain movies that I would say that Arnold. Okay, Arnold.
How does Arnold not make this better?
Arnold would be great in the movie, but not as Snake Plissken.
I'm not talking about him as Snake Plissken.
Oh yeah, or put Arnold in a movie like this, it'd be great. Absolutely.
Literally, he could be the warlord that runs L.A. He could be the president of the United States. That would have been hilarious because he was a politician.
Right.
Would have been.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Missed opportunity.
I mean, any number of things you could have put him in.
Yeah,
Plug
he would have
him in
made this
any-
movie better.
He could have been
See, I think
the son of the president.
Right.
I think I misunderstood you when you say this. I think
Yes.
you're trying to recast like
The main character?
Yes.
No, I'm literally.
So if you're adding him to the movie,
Does
then I would
Arnold
say yes?
Yes. Does
Yes.
Arnold make the movie better? Is the question.
Yes, 10 times.
Not necessarily as the main character.
So then I misunderstood you.
No,
But
no.
To that question, if adding him to the film
yes.
as a whole, yes, absolutely, he will make any movie better.
That's what I've been saying for 50 episodes.
Because the way you say it, unless I'm just a dumbass, you say it. I'm like, why is he trying to replace Kurt Russell? Why is he trying
No.
to replace John Claude Van Damme?
No. I'm going to put him in. Now,
Okay,
sometimes
Adam.
it's to
Oh,
replace
yeah.
the main character.
Like Michael Dudikoff.
Like that would have been a great one to have Arnold be the Austrian American ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
have him in the fabulous Mr. No Legs.
Yeah.
As
Oh,
Mr. No
perfect.
Legs.
Wow.
Great.
Or Pizza Cop
Or Pizza
would have been
Cop.
better.
The cop would have been
Okay.
better.
Yeah.
But I'm just so sometimes it's the main character, but that doesn't the exercise is not always the main character.
Yeah.
It's just give me somewhere where this casting would make it 1% better.
Yeah, it would have made.
You know what?
If he was in the movie, it made one.
If Schwarzenegger played Pipeline,
Yeah.
and we got a scene of Schwarzenegger and Russell surfing and high-fiving on a tsunami.
Oh God, that'd been great.
The movie would have been a legend.
Yeah.
Legendary movie.
Yeah.
I'd like to use the surfboard. You're gonna get on it.
Yeah.
Let's do it now, okay?
Now, okay, we got the dollar here.
Right.
All right. Or map of the stars.
Jump to the car now.
Yes, exactly.
All right, guys.
Oh, my
well,
Lord.
look.
Hey, we did pretty good.
Hey, we did.
12
We're
minutes
here.
later.
It's all right. It's all right. Just appreciate that you guys are here, that you hung out with us all the way through Escape from LA. Hopefully you didn't actually have to watch the movie. You can just listen to us talk about it. If you did watch it, I'm sorry, but at least you had this joint, group therapy session with us together to go through it. So we appreciate you guys for listening. Don't forget to join our Patreon, patreon.com/badmoviesrules. You can hear, the extra content we record afterwards. And, we just love you guys and thank you for listening on behalf of Bob Pliskin-Hauser and Ryan Mueller and Ryan Farrell.
Yep.
I just went with it because I did it, and then I'm just going to go with it.
Call me Snake.
This is James Hauser. Thank you for listening.